with the winner in overtime, and the Jets take it 4-3.
On Sports 1440.
Karaskia played through and driven. Waterman the substitute with a goal. With just a minute left to play. And maybe, just maybe, a huge shot on the cards in the Nations League semi-final.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Their body language is really good.
First lead for the Colonials.
Well, a tremendous Friday. Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50, and you'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. Also, Lotto Max, $55 million up for grabs tonight. PlayAlberta.ca. Hey, you could win, and then maybe you could donate if you wanted to, whatever part of your body that matches the ailment for McDavid and Draisaitl. I know Oilers fans have offered it up before, but I don't think it's anything like that. Obviously, it's a soft tissue injury for McDavid. I'm definitely no doctor, not playing one, but watching all the replay, talking to Doc, they think it's like a core slash something like, core groin hip. Just the way he's skating, not really touched. I know some people thought that Morrissey cross-checked him. Morrissey didn't cross-check him. Okay, there was nothing there. That's he's being hit infinitely harder than that. So it is unfortunate for McDavid and Draisaitl, but guess what? Knock, knock. Opportunity is there. Like, look at the Oilers lineup and look at Seattle. Like, two of the Oilers' next 3 games this week, because Draisaitl and McDavid are supposed to be out a week, are against Seattle. Are you telling me that the Edmonton Oilers can't find a way to beat the Seattle Kraken? Like, look at their lineup. Honestly, is their lineup like, oh my God, they're way better? Beniers, Capo, Kako, Jaden Schwartz. Is that better than Henrique, Skinner, and Hyman? And then you got Chandler Stevenson, who's banged up, Eberle and Tolvanen. Are they better than Nugent, Hopkins, Arvidsson, and Podkolzin? No, McCann, Yanni Nyman, Andre Burakovsky. Like, Shane Wright's actually been pretty productive as a fourth-line center, but I don't think that they're noticeably a way deeper team, and Edmonton has no chance to beat them even without McDavid and Draisaitl. So, yeah, it's not good when they're out, but to me, you can't use that as an excuse to not show up. I thought the Oilers played pretty well without both of them in third period against Winnipeg. Obviously, 3-on-3, it's noticeable more when they're not on the ice. I think that's obvious. But in 5-on-5, I see no reason why they can't compete against Seattle in 2 of those next 3 games. Dallas will obviously be a little bit tougher of a test, no question. So I don't expect the older players to just be like, oh, throw up the white flag, we're done. Connor and Leon, if anything, this is an opportunity. I know, you know what they're saying in the room. You know it before the game, guys. No one thinks we can do anything. Let's show them, hey, we got some skilled players in here. Oilers defensemen are still pretty good. Their team defense shouldn't be an issue. So, way you go. Injuries happen. It's not the playoffs. It's not long-term. It's short-term. So, find ways to win and stay above LA and potentially maybe close to Vegas. Is it going to be harder? Without question. But to me, it just doesn't give them the right to, and I'm not saying the players do, but I've seen a lot of people think, wow, the Oilers are done now. Players don't think like that. That's a loser mentality. No offense. Losers think that way. People who are scared of a challenge will think, oh, we got no chance. It's not how it works. The Edmonton Oilers aren't going to go in the room and be like, well, guys, why don't we just forfeit? Let's just forfeit and we can't win. That's not how you think. So the Oilers will play probably a week. Who knows? Maybe longer. We will find out and kind of go from there. So It's not ideal. We understand that, but that's the hand you're given. So make the most of it. Oh, Jeff Skinner, talked to Skinner after the game, and he's like, man, I've had better chances not go in, and those two went in. So, hockey gods, whoever, maybe his luck is changing. Right? You don't beat Hellebuck from that distance very often. And then the second goal, they didn't really get much on it, and it still beat him. So good for him. It was an interesting game because there wasn't a lot of shots on goal, but for both teams, when they got a chance, it was pretty high quality. There's no wasted shots last night. I'll say that. Stuart Skinner is weird, got the concussion protocol. Velarde clearly hit him in the head. I watched the replay. Like, come on. I don't see why you're taking a goalie out with 5 minutes left in a game where he showed no signs. Like, he fell over. Yeah, because a guy hit him. But it wasn't like his head didn't, like, there was no jerking motion. There was no whiplash motion. Man, if that's a playoff game and you're taking the goalie out of the game at that point, tie game, like, are you kidding me? You better be certain that guy's got some issues. And he didn't. He didn't want to come out. There was no action whatsoever that suggested he was in trouble. So, hey, it's a regular season game, fine. And I don't know, would he have stopped the game-winning goal? I have no idea. I thought that was a tad odd, timing-wise. So, see where it goes from here. Today on the program, lots to discuss. We might have to find out what happened to Declan Kruger and his lack of trust in McNeese. Told us, hey, you know what? Really liked him. I put him in my bracket. They won. He didn't put him in his. So don't question yourselves, people. Don't question yourselves. GM of the Elks, Ed Hervey, will join us, talk about the combine and the upcoming draft. We'll also hear from Laurianne Muenzer. Andrew Gross will be by, talk the Islanders, a huge win last night. So the Islanders, you're telling me there's a chance. They didn't get the win in regulation, but they got it in overtime, and now they are 2 points back of the Canadiens. They're tied with the Rangers, but they have 2 games in hand. And look at Ottawa. All of a sudden, Ottawa, some tough losses. They've allowed 11 goals in 2 games, and they got spanked last night by Colorado. Columbus did manage a point, but they are in free-fall mode, unfortunately. What looked like the best story in the league is slowly just eroding away. Detroit's 2-8 in their last 10. The Blue Jackets are 3-6-1. The Bruins are 3-6-1. The Rangers are 3-5-2. Like, I'm sorry, they don't deserve to make the playoffs. When you're in a playoff race and that's what you're doing down the stretch, you don't deserve to get in. Meanwhile, the Islanders and the Canadiens are 6-1-3. The Islanders are 6-3-1. Ottawa 7-2-1. And they've all put themselves in the 7th, 8th, and 9th spot in the East. In the West, St. Louis Blues are officially in the playoffs. They're 1 point ahead of Vancouver. Now, Vancouver does have a game in hand. They each have 25 regulation wins. They're Calgary right behind them by 2 points. That was a huge win for the Flames last night. And they are 2 back of the Blues, 1 back of the Canucks. So that race is going to go right down to the wire. Should be fun. Like, hey, playoff races are good. You look at the seeding races, Dallas and Colorado in the Central for second, Edmonton, Vegas, and LA for first, second, and third. In the Pacific, you have, there's really no race in the Metro. Washington's first, Carolina is going to be second, New Jersey is going to be third. The Atlantic, though, you have Florida 87, Toronto 87, Tampa 85. They all won last night, and Tampa has a game in hand. If Tampa wins, them and Florida each have 35 regulation wins. Toronto would have 34. The tiebreaker for Tampa, then you go to regulation overtime wins, while Tampa would have 1 more. So then they would technically own the tiebreaker at that point. So it's going to go right down to the wire. Should be a lot of fun. Also, Speck and Mitchell, Craig Button will be by. Allison Lucan will join us, give us the Kraken side of things. We'll take your thoughts at 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. So here's my question. Someone's got to do it. Which forward do you think is going to step up in the absence of McDavid and Draisaitl? Now, I guess technically you could say no one, but I look out at someone's got to step up. Well, Nugent Hopkins played way better lately. Arvidsson's got some goals. Skinner scored. So who can be the guy tomorrow night? You're going to have opportunity. Like, think about how many more minutes guys are going to get to play. You got McDavid and Draisaitl, who played the most minutes on the team. They're both out. So lots of forwards. We'll get more. Hey, Gregor, can you imagine the reaction if Skinner allowed the 2 goals Hellebuck did last night? Haters would be losing it. Dave at Whitetail. Well, Dave, it is interesting when you mention that. Could you imagine if that first goal, Jeff Skinner's goal, goes in on Stuart Skinner? Oh, yeah. People wouldn't be happy. It's just, like I like to say, there's going to be goals where you'd like your goalie to make a save every now and then. Even Hellebuck. Okay, it happens. It happens. But yes, there would be a lot. Hey, boys, I'm going with Henrique. I thought he looked pretty good last night. I'm going to go with Rico to step up. That one comes from Joey. Yeah, why not? Hey, guys, Oilers look fine against the best team in the West. Should be fine for now from Nails. I thought they, that third period, especially they got down early. There's no McDavid. They could have folded, but they didn't. And in fact, I thought they had the better chances in the third period. My goodness, Brown shorthanded him and Henrique that 2-on-1. And, it's when you think back to the playoffs last year, how many times did Brown slide it across to find Janmark on an odd man rush and he buried it? Thought he might try to get it across to Henrique, but obviously did not happen. Hey, Gregor, to me, Skinner was trying to suck out a penalty. Was that the reason the spotter pulled him? Well, who cares? Like, if you watch the replay, and that's the spotter's job, I would assume, watch the replay. So Stuart Skinner gets hit, and then it's kind of like slowly falls back. There was no, his body didn't go limp. He didn't look like somebody who had taken one on the noggin. I thought it was an overreaction. You don't pull a guy because you think he's drawing a penalty. That's not the spotter's job. The spotter's supposed to say, hey, I think this guy. And when you watch the play again, there was never any sort of whiplash motion at all. There wasn't like an up and side or anything. So I don't know. I thought that was a little bit of an overzealous. Now some would say, oh, it's better to be safe than sorry. Well, not really. If that's your argument, it's better to be safe than sorry, then you should drive around with the helmet on in your vehicle at all times because that's safer. I don't think you want to do that. So, hey, guys, I think this is a good chance. This is exactly what the team needs. Get everyone feeling confident going to the playoffs. McDavid and Draisaitl get some rest. Well, there's always ways to look at it positively. Now, you're right. They'll get some rest. Now, if this extends for a while, now the other thing on the injury front, I should say, Trent Frederick, I think he had a little bit of a setback. He skated on Monday very gingerly in a tracksuit and hasn't skated since. And now they're saying 2 more weeks. So originally, Stan Bowman had said he was going to be back before April. Well, that's not going to happen now. So the Oilers, he's not going to play tomorrow. They got 3 games next week before the month ends. So at least 4 more games for Frederick. And that's obviously not good news for the Oilers. Because now, if he gets in 5 games, I guess that's okay. But the longer this goes, it's just fewer games for him to play, get comfortable, get in game shape, everything else. So that's not ideal. But again, not the end of the world. We'll see. There's going to be some guys who have to step up. Boys, I'm with Joey. I'm taking Henrique as well. Hey guys, maybe a surprise pick, but I like Kapanen. Give him a few more minutes. I think he's really been wheeling from Rob. Kapanen can really skate, can he? And, man, he could shoot the puck. I'd like him to shoot the puck more. Like, both goalies, Calvin Pickard was in here. We talked Stuart Skinner. Both of them, without even being asked, talk about what a good shot Kapanen has. Derek Ryan, when we had him on that interview, mentioned the same thing. So, yeah, I'd like to see Kapanen use that shot more. Why not? Hey, Gregor, I wouldn't say Edmonton looked better than Winnipeg. Winnipeg had 2-on-1s, and the Oilers even gave up a breakaway. But we still don't want to talk about how goaltending is not being the problem. Austin, I've talked about it. Now, you're right, they had the one partial breakaway. I don't recall multiple 2-on-1s in the third. I have to go back and watch it. I know Edmonton had a few. That's the thing. There wasn't a lot of shots, but there was a lot of high-quality chances in that game, both ways. Like, look at how many odd man rushes both teams had. And like, look at that Pod Colson play, right? Real good power move right to the net. That's a really good chance. Winnipeg had some good ones. So it's funny. If you look at the shot totals, you'll think, not a lot happened. That was a game last night where low shot totals, but a lot of quality chances. 2:15. We'll take a quick break. When we return, Ed Hervey will join us. We'll talk a little bit about the CFL and what's happening to the combine. Now, the Elks don't have a first-round pick. The previous regime traded away for the opportunity to sign young Canadian receivers. So what's the approach when you don't have a first? We'll find out next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, till the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy! Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on PlayAlberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Volvo Cars Edmonton invites you to their biggest sale of the year. The March showroom event is on now. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 1.99% and save $3,500. Lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,500. Lease or finance a 2024 XC40 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $2,500. Don't miss the March showroom event at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
At Papa John's, you get your everyday favorites for just $9.99 each when you order 2 or more items from the Papa Pairings menu. When you order more, you save more. Choose from medium one-topping pizzas, boneless wings, papadillas, breadsticks, cheese sticks, and desserts. It's easy to order all your favorites when they're just $9.99 each. So the next time your friends come over to eat your food, check out the Papa Pairings menu to save. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies. With state-of-the-art motor coaches, we provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and if you look outside, you'll notice it's not exactly RV weather, but it is time to get your plan together. Our busiest time for spring startups is coming in just a few weeks. So if you want to be ready for May long weekend, you should really book your time right now.
A lot of people wait for warmer weather to book their spring startup.
That's right, Bob. But we're booked weeks in advance for the most popular startup times. And if you've been putting off any small repairs or fixes, this is the right time to get that taken care of too.
You don't want to spend another season with gutter butter leaking down the side of your RV.
No way, Bob. Our used RV maintenance crew will get you ready to roll for the first camping weekend of the summer. And all it takes is a little thinking ahead and some TLC from our service experts. Because the best time to go camping with your family is the minute you feel like going.
And that's no bull.
NobleRV.ca. At Papa John's, you get your everyday favorites for just $9.99 each when you order 2 or more items from the Papa Pairings menu. When you order more, you save more. Choose from medium one-topping pizzas, boneless wings, papadillas, breadsticks, cheese sticks, and desserts. It's easy to order all your favorites when they're just $9.99 each. So the next time your friends come over to eat your food, check out the Papa Pairings menu to save. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor. If you love the taste of beer or spirits but don't want a hangover, we have a great selection of non-alcoholic beers, spirits, and wines. Stop in and try some. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you are having a lovely day as we get to our football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where they are hiring HVAC installers and plumbers. If you're looking to get a very competitive wage that includes matching RSPs, tuition reimbursement, also hiring bonus, the right candidate, go to legacyheating.ca and apply today. As we are joined by the general manager of the Edmonton Elks, Ed Hervey. Ed, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. What's the, I guess, your main focus when you go to the combine?
Well, our main focus for the combine, obviously, it gives an opportunity to see the athletes, to see the players up close. Number one, like you get a chance to see them. You watch them on film throughout the season and throughout this off season. You have a chance to compare them to the other players at their position. Chance to meet them, and then obviously with the testing and the competition, we get a chance to gauge that, and then actually have a chance to see what kind of athletes they are. So there's an all around focus on who the players are as people and what kind of athletes they are, when they're on the field as they compare to each other.
Now, you're a pretty fast runner, Ed. So when you watch the 40, how does, obviously you want to have speed, sure, but do you look at the 40 and then the 3-cone and even the shuttle and combine all of them? Because it's very rare in football that anybody's running 40 yards straight in a line untouched.
Yeah, I think again, the 40, gives us their, obviously their speed and how explosive they are, coming out of their start. On the shuttle, it gives you more of their lateral quickness and ability to change direction. And same thing with the broad jump, and give you a little bit more of a sample of their explosiveness. But to your point, the tape shows what kind of football player they are. These tests have more to do with what kind of raw athleticism they possess, and we go from there.
So yeah, the video maybe shows the player, shows a little bit of their football sense. This can illustrate some of their athleticism. So do you look and say, hey, it's always good to have an athlete that maybe we can work into more football sense, or you rather say, well, hey, I'd like to get a guy with football sense and we can help improve him as an athlete?
Well, you want good football players, number one, right? And when you're looking at good football players, and then you take their athleticism, because once you get out there, you have to be able to survive as an athlete. When we're talking about individual matchups, i.e., even some the special teams, for example, the ability to be able to run, to be able to the power and the size to be able to match up. Those things are all important in our game. So, that's a tough question to ask with respect to, what you're looking for. You're always looking for the guys who can play and who can adapt to what you're doing schematically. But, you have to have the traits physically to be able to execute them at the end of the day. So if we can fill our team with, athletes that can run and that can compete at a level and more importantly, be able to, match up, then you've done your due diligence. But, again, it starts with the film of identifying who those players are. And then you'll see guys, their stock rise or fall in some respect when they come here as it pertains to their comparison to one another.
Now, you don't have a first-round pick, Ed, so how does that change your approach at the draft?
No, I don't think it doesn't change the approach at all. Yeah, we go in with the same thing. We got to know who the players are. We got to do all of our thorough work, making sure that we have a full idea of who and where the players are slotted as far as tiers, national starters or potential ratio changes. We don't change anything because, Gregor, as you know, after this, people start trades happen. And if you're not prepared to be in the first round, even if you don't have a first round pick, you could be in a situation where you select the wrong guy or you just don't know who the athletes are. So I don't see it any different personally. You just prepare and get to know all the players. And if there's an opportunity to move up, you have the background information on each player to make a decision that's best for the organization and the football team.
When I look at your team, Ed, and I look across the board, I don't necessarily see an obvious, man, we need an offensive lineman. We're getting older on the D-line specifically. Like, I know it's sometimes a cliche, but it seems that you can clearly draft the best player. You don't really have to fill a need by position necessarily with your picks this year. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think when we look at that, it's a good position to potentially be in. But when we're looking at depth of position, and without giving things away, you kind of look at our back end situation, our secondary, and you see we're starting a field corner, or we're looking at projecting to start a field corner and a free safety. So the depth of the back end could be critical to our roster, right, to maintain the integrity of our ratio. So we're looking at the secondary quite extensively through this process. Right? We're looking at, some other key positions like a wide receiver that we have. You'll also want to make certain that, we're covered there. So when you say we don't have a glaring need, I would say that, we have areas that could use more depth, and those areas are areas of concentration throughout this process.
Ed Hervey, GM of the Edmonton Elks, joins us. Ed, you've made a lot of your free agent signings with veteran players, and obviously now you look to players to fill it out. Guys who can come to camp. When I look at your roster, the obvious opportunity, maybe the position with the most opportunity, would be for young receivers to come in. This team, you don't have a ton of established guys where you say, well, this guy's a clear starter, maybe more than any other position. So do you load up and get more receivers in that situation, or do you just focus in to try to get 2 or 3 that you really want to come up from the U.S.?
Well, it's funny you mention that. I was on the phone. We've been on the phone the last couple of days talking with receivers specifically and talking to them about the opportunity that we have at the receiver position, saying that for a young receiver coming into the CFL in a league that usually has its position groups established, is that this is probably the greatest opportunity for a young receiver to come in and compete for a position would be this year. And it's not more so because we don't have established guys. It's more so because we've made it a point to, focus on other positions, and we have some veterans, but we feel like, hey, there's an opportunity to come in and compete and showcase, and we're our openness to a young receiver allows us to create that opportunity for someone. So, yeah, to your point, yes, we have that opportunity at the wide receiver position, but if we don't find a young guy, we do have a quality group of guys that we can go into the season with and feel very confident that we can get things done and perform at a high level with.
Ed, of course, yesterday there's lots of people fired up about, he said there's no superstars in the CFL, and Connor Halley and I were actually having the discussion. Like, I think in sports right now, at times the word great gets thrown out too easily. To me, to be a superstar, you need to be elite for at least 4 or 5 consecutive seasons. That's just my definition of it. Everybody's going to have a different definition of it. Do you feel there's lots of talent, but maybe there's not like clear dominant players across the board right now?
No, see, I think a lot of times, like most cases, whenever I do an interview with that particular group of reporters, things get blown out of proportion. The realities of this is that, look, we have a league of really good players and great players, but when people say the term superstar, again, I don't want to talk about anyone's players anymore, and I think this topic needs to die. But I guess, where I'm going at it was, superstar for me was Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. That's all. That's really it. Guys that are known globally and all that other stuff. I think it gets to a point where people's feelings get hurt when you say certain things, and you got to go back and try to correct it and make sure that people hear the right thing. I do not think that our league doesn't have really good players. I don't think I believe our league has excellent players. I think that we have players who play at a high level, and that's what I'm very proud of this league.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
But I'm going to make it clear, and this isn't a shot at any player or anyone. But when I was growing up, Muhammad Ali, guys who can walk anywhere, they're known by everyone. Wayne Gretzky, those guys walk in the building, everyone knows who they are. Everyone. Matty Johnson. You go, the list goes on and on. This isn't a slight at any player in the Canadian Football League. And I want to make that abundantly clear, because I'm really getting tired of talking about this particular topic and with this particular, player, making a fuss over something that's irrelevant to my day to day.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to say it one more time. We have great players in this league, do great things, but me growing up, we all have different definitions of what that is.
Yeah.
And, if anyone wants to argue that Muhammad Ali and Bill Russell and those guys weren't superstars, then, okay, then, figure it out on your own. But that's my take on that, and that's where I'm at.
Well, I'm with you. I totally agree. I think that, the term superstar should be saved for the true elite players. Like, you look for a year, like Ricky Ray in the CFL was probably close for a while there. He was a dominant player. Everybody around the league knew him, but there's not a lot of those guys. And that's not a knock on everybody, but it's hard to be a superstar. Like, it's really hard to be a superstar.
Exactly. Yeah. And here's the thing, Jason, I'll say this and I'll close this, that, some of the conversation yesterday, superstars transcend the sport.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think I'll leave it at that. Right. So I'm not knocking anyone, and I don't want to talk about anyone anymore, because I have more important things to do with our football team and our focus than to getting into a match of who's what and what's not. But if I show my family a picture of one person, they're not gonna know who that is. And then I show them a picture of Michael Jordan, everyone's gonna know. That's all. That's really where I was going with it, and that's it. So if it hurts someone's feelings, too bad.
Ed Hervey joins us. Ed, the off season, when you look at it, and obviously you had a plan. I think it's clear you wanted to upgrade your defensive line. That's pretty obvious. You made some acquisitions, signings in the secondary. Now that you've had a chance, you look at your team. Obviously, you got the draft. You're going to add some players there. There's still going to be some players that come into camp that people don't know about, and halfway through the year, they'll be like, "Hey, that's a pretty good player." But how do you really know how good it is? You've been doing this job for a long time as a GM. How much is it? I'm confident in my group, but there's a percentage of, well, I won't really know until we get them in the group, and and then they gel as a team and they mess with our coaches.
That is, again, that's what's so unique about our sport, right? It's when everyone shows up and everyone is on the same page. Everyone buys into what's going on. When we have our tough days and we battle through them, we have a chance to compete not only internally against one another. When we have a chance to roll the ball out and compete in our preseason games, every game for us and everything that we do going into this off season, going into training camp, into our preseason, is very important to the success that we expect to have going into the regular season. And we need to really focus on the hard work of that we put in this off season, but our players, when they show up for camp, need to be ready to go, be in best physical shape. But as far as knowing and being able to pinpoint when we have a chance. We have to take a look and see what we look like. We're all new coaching staff, new players, all coming together, learning new system and a new way of doing things here. So it's just a process where we have to be patient, but also optimistic. And I feel very confident in our group. But again, we have to put in the work, and the work, our players have yet to even be on the field together to start that process. So we're looking forward to it and excited about it. And as we get through the process, we'll have a better gauge of what we are as we start to see us and the team compete against others.
Ed, always good to catch up with you. Lastly, the Lakers. Where do you see them in the NBA West?
Well, health is going to be a big factor. Okay, I know the team is a bit undersized as far as matching up in the paint, but before LeBron got hurt, the team was playing really good defense, but Luka's starting to look like he's coming on. So, do I believe the Lakers are going to win the championship? That's how I feel all the time. I believe they're going to win it until they're out. But I do know that there are some deficiencies. But I'm excited about the fact that we're not in the play-in portion of the NBA playoff system, which makes me happy. But I'm just looking forward to a good postseason and hope that we can advance very far. And regardless of what they do, we'll always be proud of them and always cheerful.
Ed, good to talk to you again, my man. Have a great day. Have a good weekend.
All right. Great talking to you. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That's Ed Hervey, GM of the Elks, and his definition pretty much matches mine, Cons. People getting Gino Lewis trying to suggest that there are superstars in the league right now, and even hinting that suggest maybe he's one. Like, I'm sorry. Okay. No. Like right now, and trust me, it's hard to be a superstar. You have lots of really good players. Like Bo Levi Mitchell was elite for many years. Right? Like, look at Zach Collaros. He's won lots, but is Zach Collaros like even a dominant quarterback? He's only ever passed for 4,000 yards twice. Doesn't have, like, they had a really good team. I don't know if they had many they had no superstars. They had a really good team. But, like, I'm sorry. If they want to get offended by that, like, in the NHL, how many superstars are there? And keep in mind, that's a league of, 32 teams. How many real superstars would there be? 5 or 7, maybe. Crosby, Ovechkin, David Draisaitl, McKinnon. Probably Makar. But here's the thing. I don't like the non-hockey fan. If I gave him a picture of Cale Makar, they going to know who he is? Right? Like, who Michael Jordan is. No one even watched hockey in the 80s. They all knew who Gretzky was. Right? My brother was traveling in Switzerland in August of 1988 when Gretzky got traded. And it was in the news in Switzerland. Okay. So, Ovi going for the race. He's there. Crosby, probably McDavid. That might be it, to be honest. We're talking like true superstars. Now, hockey fans are going to say, oh, I love this guy's a great player. Yeah, I understand that. But that's different definition. Like, even in the NFL, like, who are the faces of the game? How many? Patrick Mahomes, because they've won lots and plays a pretty important position. Right? People know who Kelsey is now, but that's more so because of his relationship than anything else. So if anybody out there got their feelings hurt because, they used the term superstar as though it was like a negative, like, look at yourself in the mirror and stop over it. Valuing your value. That's how I would put it. 2:40, quick break. When we return, hey, opportunity. When every athlete wants more of an opportunity. So how do you ensure that when it presents itself, you're ready to take it? Because there's opportunities for the Oilers. We'll discuss it next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Explore beyond the boundaries of capability and value during Truck Month at GMC. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Pro Graphite. With a TurboMax engine delivering 310 horsepower, GMC Pro safety features including automatic emergency braking, plus a max towing of up to 9,500 pounds. You'll be ready for anything this Truck Month. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Power. The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
RV Wars hits the north side March 27th to 30th at the Old Lowe's building. Go RV, Vision RV, and Arcan RV have joined forces for RV Wars. Take advantage of pre-tariff pricing on travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes, and more. The last of the 2024 models are being cleared out. Make no payments for 6 months OAC. Now is the time to buy with special discounted finance rates. Free admission with a donation to the food bank. RV Wars on the north side, 9603 165 Avenue. Visit rvwars.ca.
Hey, it's Andrew Walker, host of the Cross Mitsubishi pregame show, which you can check out before all the games this season. A big thank you to Cross Mitsubishi for their support. We are Sports 1440, Edmonton sports leader.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love, better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Nuggets. This is Nuge's Nuggets, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. What nugget of heating and cooling advice does Nuge have today?
You can save a lot of money by bundling your new furnace and AC with Legacy. It's kind of like saving money on an endorsement by bundling me, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, with someone like, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Thanks for suggesting me, Nuge. Get no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new AC and furnace from Legacy Heating and Cooling. Proud sponsor of Nuge's Nuggets.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Spring cleanup is a breeze with the Lawnmower Hospital and Echo Pro Attachment Series. With one power head and 16 different attachments, the Echo PAS powers through almost any spring cleanup job. And speaking of power, Echo now has a battery-powered power head that uses the same attachments as gas. Find out how commercial landscapers can save 20% for 24 months with the Landscaper Fleet Discount Program. See lawnmowerhosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
At Fountain Tire, our focus is taking care of your vehicle. Your focus? Saving up to 25% off select tires. Plus, getting up to a $120 mail-in rebate on a set of 4 select tires until April 26th. So we both win. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers Score and Win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers Hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave and 118th.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
2:45. Welcome back. Positive Friday. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having an awesome day. Big plans for the weekend. Lots going on. Of course, March Madness. If you're a basketball fan, we'll be tuning into all that. You've got playoffs beginning in the AJHL. BCHL is wrapping up the regular season. You have WHL getting set. They're wrapping up stuff, and playoffs right around the corner there. Can't wait. NHL playoff races are on. You got F1. Hamilton in qualifying at the top, beating out Verstappen. So lots of unpredictability early on in F1, which actually makes it way more entertaining to watch. So it's going to be a great sports weekend. Of course, the Oilers taking on the Seattle Kraken on Saturday. No Draisaitl, no McDavid. They probably are going to miss the next 3 games. Chris Knobloch said could be out a week. So the Oilers play tonight. They don't play again until Wednesday and Thursday. So they're Seattle tonight. Dallas is in Edmonton on Wednesday. And then the Oilers are in Seattle on Thursday. So 2 of the next 3 are against the Kraken, which, come on. I know the Oilers don't have Draisaitl or McDavid, but you can't tell me when I look at that Kraken lineup that the Oilers can't compete. Dallas will be a tough one for sure. But Seattle, there's no way that Seattle Kraken should be dominating the Edmonton Oilers, even without McDavid and Draisaitl. I just don't see it. But it does present opportunity. And we're going to talk about that coming up now. We get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that safely take your team or group to their next destination. Visit silentrides.ca for more information. As Laurianne Muenzer, Olympic gold medalist, joins us. And Laurianne, especially in a team sport, individual sport's a little bit different because, you know what, you always have the opportunity. But in a team sport, when injuries occur or you get traded, you come to a new place, all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what, I want more opportunity. And now when it comes, you got to be ready for it. So it's not like you can just snap your fingers, okay, I'm ready. But these guys are all on the team, but the 2 biggest minute eaters amongst the forwards are out. So there's going to be a lot more minutes for some guys. And how do athletes ensure when that opportunity arises, they're ready to grasp it?
Well, hopefully, Jason, they've been preparing for this, because not necessarily the moment of McDavid and Draisaitl both being out, but that when you're called and the ask come down the line, that you are actually ready. So hopefully you've gone through it multiple times over your head and that it's part of your daily training. It's just like weight training. It's just like getting on the ice. It's part of when you get that call, you have to be ready, and it's going to be unpredictable, just like what you said. You never know when it's going to happen. So you've got to prepare as if you're going to have that call. And it's just, what can you control? You don't think about the things that you can't control. You got to mitigate those and just go, hey, here's what I can do. And here's what I am going to do.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And so you prepare for it. It is a little different because, when you're, I had Calvin Pickard in studio. We had him on the show last week, and he talked about it. He goes, guys are lying when they tell you they prepare the same every game if they're starting or if they're backing up. And he chuckled and he goes, you don't, right? Like it's a lie that athletes have said, oh, I'm the backup, I'm preparing the same as if I'm the starter. No, you don't. And he said it, so I believe him because I think it's true. But So when we say, preparing for it, how do you prepare for a role that 90% of the time you're not going to have? Like Connor Brown's not going to be a first line guy. Adam Henrique in Edmonton never has to prepare to be the first line center because you got McDavid and Draisaitl, not going to be that guy. So how can you prepare for it? It's more just preparing for extra minutes, I'm guessing.
Well, part of it is absolutely, do you have the endurance to go the extra time, right? But the other thing is when you get the call, it's like, you've got to be ready. So can you parachute in? And that's the mental mindset part is, Picard said, well, you don't prepare. Well, actually, I would disagree with it because you're going to have a couple elements that are always the same. And then as you watch the games, you're going to get different pointers or different things that you could go, oh, shoot, if this goes wrong and I get called in, what am I going to do? Because literally you may have 30 seconds, you may have 60 seconds. That's it. That's all. So you've got to be able to think of those things that are going to happen. And that's something that we always used to do in training is think of the most craziest scenario where you get the call. You got to go in now. Or if you're thinking you've got a couple hours until you're on the ice or you're on the track and they cut it and you're up in 5 or 10 minutes, are you going to be ready? And it's just, it's going through those drills, Jason, again and again and again in your mind, playing it backwards, forwards, and every which way that it will go south on you. Because if you're not familiar with it, it's going to be a big surprise and you're not going to be ready.
Yeah. When we get into, pressure cookers and now March Madness, for instance, it's one game, right? And it's you win, you keep going, you lose, you're out. There's a difference in one game. It's like you have a bunch of 7 games really, but it's not even the same as that because in a 7-game series, you've got some battle scars. You played the same team. You're preparing. Okay, they did this last time. In these single elimination games, it's not really like a game 7 in the sense because you haven't played that team before. All of a sudden, it's one game. I got to be ready. What and in your case as a rider, it was the same thing, right? It's like, okay, I got to be ready today, right now. It doesn't matter what I did last week. It matters right now. What's the thrill of that moment like? And how do you feel athletes can mentally prepare themselves so when they get into those pressure cooker situations, they can succeed and not get too stressed and maybe not be too tight?
Well, I don't know if there's like a perfect answer, Jason, but it's like the air, number one, is absolutely electric. Your hair is like almost on fire because you're going, this is do or die. And if you do not play your best game, if you are not in the moments where you need to be, you're going out. And it's just, it goes up automatically to a whole new level, Jason, because it's literally do or die. And if you played every game like that, whether you've got 82 games in a season or 7 races, or one like March Madness, you've got to do it like do or die. And there was a race in cycling and it was called the elimination or the devil may care. And it was the last rider across the line on a mass start that got yanked out of the race. And it would come down to 3 riders and then 2 riders, and then it would be a full-on sprint. So the question is, are you going to play as if your life depends on it? Because there's going to be opportunities. And, there's that expression, opportunity shows up in work boots and coveralls. And it's like, are you doing the work? Have you prepared? Have you done everything in your capacity to do it? And that's the part that I look at athletes, if they're full-time athletes, that's the only thing you have to focus on. And then you look at other athletes like Canadians coming up, right? They're working part-time, they're going to school part-time, and then they're playing sports. So how do you manage your schedule so that you're touching on all of those components so that when you do get into the pressure cooker, you can perform? And that's all the things you're thinking about, Jason. What can I do to make it happen? What is the leadership role that I can? What can I control? What is out of my control that I can't, that I don't even need to worry about?
Did you find as an athlete, you learn to be better in pressure situations? Like what were the mistakes you made early in your career in pressure situations that you got better at?
Oh gosh, sleeping at the back. You're waiting for somebody to make the move instead of you making the move and you controlling the situation. And I see that so much in all athletes in all sports. They're just kind of like waiting, they're cruising along, and then all of a sudden, boom, they get, sideswiped, they get hit. The person takes off on them, and it's like, well, where did you come from? And if you're not ready for it, it's like, we call those a sleeper moment. And you've got to be on your toes. And you've heard me say this before, keep both feet on the gas pedal. Why? Because when you take one foot off, you still got one on there and you can still go.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how you said, sleeping. I thought you actually meant sleeping, but then you said sleeping in the back rather than being like, you're kind of too passive, right? Like, and it's one where you're like, oh, I got to save something. Right. But then you learn, and that's where people, I do believe that experience does matter. And it's not that because of you have more experience, it means you're better. It's like you've been through a situation. So you learn how to handle it better. It's like, okay, you know what, maybe I don't go out and I'm sure maybe sometimes people are too aggressive and they burn their legs out and now they're done and they don't have a finishing kick in cycling, for instance, or, in other sports. And a lot of it is just staying calm in the moment. And the great part about it is, though, even though you do it once or twice, even then it doesn't guarantee you that in the future you'll do it again.
Oh, absolutely. And you just really hit on it, Jason. It is about pace. It's about being patient. But then it's also like, well, if you've got short shifts, you're going to recover. You've not done this just once, not twice. You've probably done it 10 or 20 times, right? And your body gets accustomed to it that, well, if I'm going to save 5 or 10% or maybe 5 or 10 minutes, it's not really going to help you on the short one. If you're going longer than normal, if you're doing a double or a triple shift, then yeah, you got to be careful there where you expend your energy. In a longer race, though, you do have to pace yourself, because if it's a race on cycling where you go from point to point or town to town or wherever it is that you're going and it's not coming around, you do have to pace yourself. But the one thing I can tell you is that when you think you've hit your mark and you're done, there's usually more left in the tank, unless you're totally obliterated. You've been going out on your own for 100K, but it's just for those short shifts. You can go, you can give it. You come back, you rest, you reset the mind, you grab a swig of Gatorade or whatever's in the bottle, and away you go again.
Well, it's unique because those experiences even start, and I'm a big believer that learning that even at young ages in sports is helpful. Being a goal scorer in hockey is a mentality that you learn at a young age. Right. You learn at a time when to go, how to read the play, yada, 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 get better at picking your corner, even when you have pressure on you, picking your spot to beat the goalie, glove hand, blocker, etc. It's not just like luck. It's repetition over and over in practice, but then it's being able to do it in a game when people expect you to do it. And that's probably the hardest thing, right? When you expect yourself to be ready. Can you give us an example of when you expected yourself to be ready and everything was good, but then when it actually came down to the race, you didn't have it?
Well, absolutely. And it's like, you have to be ready. And if you're not ready, Jason, then what are you going to do to give yourself that spark, light yourself up? At the Olympics in the semifinals, first race, I was flat and I went through the motions. I was mechanical. I was trying to get into the spirit of it. Nothing happened. And Anna Mears, she took it well, I got schooled. I truly did. And then it was like, I had 5 minutes to reset my mind to go, all right, I have to win the next 2 races. If I do not win the next 2 races, I'm not going into the gold medal round. So that's a point where I always, when I'm working with the athletes, is what is it that you need? Do you need somebody to come by and slap you on your shoulders or, do something like jolt you or scare you? I pinched myself so hard that it was just like, and I was ready to fight. And it's that moment there that flipped the switch. And everybody has a switch. Either the switch goes off and you're flat and you're not in the game, or else it goes on and you're just like, rare to go, let's go. And there was nothing Anna Mears could have done in that situation that she could have come past me, because it's like I countered every move. I knew what I was wanting to do. I was in control of the game. Then I had to do it another time. So I had 5 minutes in between. That's it. That's all. And I did the same thing again. It was like, you've done it in practice, so you know what to do. But I had never had that experience. And it was literally just a moment flash that came into my mind. I just went, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And sometimes that's what you have to rely on, is go inside and you'll get a message. And just go, maybe I got to slap myself. Maybe I got to move around. Maybe I got to do jumping jacks. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody.
Laurianne, great stuff. We really appreciate it. Have yourself an awesome weekend.
You too, Jason. Thanks.
There you go. That's Laurianne Muenzer joins us every Friday here on Sports 1440. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice as they introduce 3 new food options with new ingredients to create new cravings. The guacamole chicken panini, guacamole black bean wrap, and the egg and chipotle black bean wrap. Try one today at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Oilers forwards Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, the second and fourth leading scorers in the NHL this season, are both expected to miss out up to a week for the Oilers and will not play when they take on the Kraken on Saturday night down at Rogers Place. The two centers could also miss the following 2 games against Dallas and the Kraken on Thursday. On the ice tonight, just 1 game. Penguins meet the Blue Jackets. Puck drop just after 5 o'clock. In the association, it's a busy one. The Thunder taking on the Hornets, Pelicans in Minnesota. Heat host the Rockets, Magic in Washington. Celtics taking on the Jazz. Suns host the Cavs, Nuggets in Portland, and the Grizz take on the Clippers. March Madness Day 2 rolls on. Number 1, Duke beaten up on Mount St. Mary's 84-46 in the second half. Vanderbilt leads St. Mary's 39-31, and North Carolina trailing Ole Miss 44-26. Later today, Florida takes on Norfolk, Troy, and Kentucky. Marquette up against New Mexico. Akron battles Arizona. UConn taking on Oklahoma. Xavier meets Illinois, and you've got Oregon taking on Liberty. Earlier today, Alabama, Iowa State, Colorado State, and Baylor all advancing to round 2. In the WHL, the Oil Kings are on the road in Lethbridge, taking on the Hurricanes. Puck drop at 7. The team will wrap up their regular season on Sunday when they host the Hitmen down at Rogers Place. Puck drop at 4. In the AJ, Spruce Grove hosting Vernon out at Grant Pier Arena. That one gets going at 7 o'clock. Also at 7, the Crusaders in Brooks taking on the Bandits. And in the BCHL, we've got playoffs kicking off tonight. Fort Mac and Whitecourt. Grand Prairie hosting Lloyd. Kodiak's in Calgary, and Canmore heads to Drumheller to take on the Dragons. All those games starting at 7 o'clock. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Wanye Gretz from Oilers Nation. Plus, we'll talk Kraken with Allison Lucan and Islanders with Andrew Gross. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Volvo Cars Edmonton invites you to their biggest sale of the year. The March showroom event is on now. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 1.99% and save $3,500. Lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,500. Lease or finance a 2024 XC40 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $2,500. Don't miss the March showroom event at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy! Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey, it's Andrew Walker, host of the Cross Mitsubishi pregame show, which you can check out before all the games this season. A big thank you to Cross Mitsubishi for their support. We are Sports 1440, Edmonton sports leader.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
At Papa John's, you get your everyday favorites for just $9.99 each when you order 2 or more items from the Papa Pairings menu. When you order more, you save more. Choose from medium one-topping pizzas, boneless wings, papadillas, breadsticks, cheese sticks, and desserts. It's easy to order all your favorites when they're just $9.99 each. So the next time your friends come over to eat your food, check out the Papa Pairings menu to save. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast. Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Need a solid foundation without the fuss? Richard and Kalina at DCL Pile Driving have your back. Locally owned, they offer straight, driven piles. No screwing around. Serving all of Alberta, DCL Pile Driving gets your foundation ready in hours with minimal ground disturbance. Perfect for tight spaces, whether it's for a deck, grain bins, or RTMs. Tell them the radio sent you and receive a special discounted rate. Call or text 587-322-PILE. DCL Pile Driving. Don't get screwed. Get piles driven.
This is a slam dunk. Dive into Edmonton's vibrant basketball scene with exclusive interviews and expert analysis. I'm Paul Sir, and I host The Basketball Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's
It's,
only
every Friday,
regulated
sports.
online gambling website.
1440. .308, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a great day. The Gregor Show is always presented by playalberta.ca. Get in the game tonight. How about $55 million? Probably change your life, don't you think? I think it would. Hopefully in a good way. $55 million. Get your tickets for the Lotto Max at playalberta.ca. Good luck. We got a lot of texts to get to. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. I always like when the listeners listen to the show and then want to follow up, because I did do it and then I forgot to mention it. So, yesterday on the show, Jeff Merrick talked about how one rule change he would do is when it was offside, instead of having the neutral zone face off, because he just thinks they're a waste, if you go offside, the face off would be in your defensive zone, similar to offside. And obviously, if you go similar to icing. And if you go offside, then you can't change at that point. I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't mind it. Well, how many offsides do you think there are in an average game? I don't know what an average game is, but I did keep track of yesterday's game. And do you know how many offside calls there were in the game? I'll give you a second. How about 3? That's it. Now, I'd have to look to see, is that lower than others? Average game, we'll find out. But it was 3 last night, so I don't think it would be a major change. So we'll see. Welcome in Wanye Gretz to the show. Wanye, how you doing?
Gregor, where you been? Every Friday, you're out gallivanting around.
Well, we've been on location a few times, yeah. No, it's nice. I was gone one weekend, I think, and then I was on location. Where were we last Friday? I can't remember. Being on so many different places now. Can't remember. But
well, there was the McDavid McDonald's.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's where we were. That was a few weeks ago.
Then the next week you were gone again, and I just went to the Lego store for 3 hours. Didn't have to come here. There wasn't anything to do, so I went and played with Lego.
Oh, well, did you find any good ones?
Lego's not what it used to be when we were kids. When we were kids, it was a box of bricks.
Yeah, I know.
And you made your own fun.
Yes.
Now everything is part of a puzzle, basically.
I know, which is good. But once you build it, it's kind of like, well, now what do I do? Right? Because it's not like you can build it into other things. I agree with you. Like we used to have it. And trust me, I was like, my brother did a lot of the Lego building. I played with it because it wasn't great at seeing stuff. I can't really see in 3D. So I could never, like I could build like the simple square, do stuff like that, but nothing extravagant by any stretch of the imagination. And, you had the gray base and then you had all the blocks. There was like, you had yellows and whites and blues and reds for the most part. And remember there was single ones, doubles, the odd 3, then 4, and then some 8s. And then you had the odd one that was like 12. And you're like, okay, now I can build better. Right. And then you had a few of the triangle ones that were, kind of like almost like they look like shingles. So you could build those on. Like, yeah, you don't really have those anymore. I'm like, bring them back. Bring back the old one. Now you can still buy the odd bucket, but I just don't see them very often. You have to really search for it.
Well, now you go to the Lego store. They're like, oh, would you like to buy a 4,000-piece set of Hogwarts School? Like, do you have Moon Base for a 4-year-old? Because that's more the market I'm in. Everything I built when I was little was either a space base or an army base. That's all we needed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. So, the Oilers, they're going to have an opportunity. It's like there's the Lego bucket, and the coach is now going to dump it out, and he's going to try to pick out the pieces to say, hey, who can fill in for a few games? Because Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid are going to be out, a week, maybe more. So if it's a week, that's 3 games. They play Seattle tonight. They play Dallas on Wednesday, and then they're in Seattle on Thursday. And it's not ideal. I understand it, but the sky is not falling. It's not like they can't survive. Actually, I give them credit. I thought they played pretty well in the third period against Winnipeg. And so Winnipeg's a pretty good team. Now you got to do it for a full 60 minutes. But I look up and down this Seattle lineup, and I outlined it earlier. You can't tell me that Seattle has way more skill than the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow night.
Do we know what's wrong with either of them?
No, it's tissue injuries. My understanding is soft tissue injury. So to me, like if I would guess, and this is just a guess, I haven't got it from anybody, but if I was guessing on McDavid, having conversations with, I asked a few doc buddies of mine who watch, and they think it's like a core groin issue because it's all like your core muscles are combined to everything, right? It could be a hip thing. The fact that McDavid, so anybody who saw the replay, and we put it up, so he's coming in, it kind of doesn't look like anything. He instantly felt it, goes to the bench, but he did take another 18-second shift later on. And if you watch that shift, he skated up all the ice, no problem, weaved through, made a pass across into the slot, and then went to the bench. And obviously felt like, okay, so he's like a Ferrari. It's fine-tuned. And when all of a sudden, if one of your sparks plugs just isn't right, those guys feel it. All the elite level athletes, they know when something's off. Right now, obviously, sometimes you can it's like, obviously, you're sending a pain comes to your brain and you're like, okay, well, that doesn't feel good. So, we'll see. I did see when I walked out of the dressing room last night, Connor McDavid was standing there talking to Derek Ryan. There was nothing for people who thought it was a shoulder injury. There was nothing. There was no sling. There was anything like that. I saw him walk down the stairs because they have the stairs that come from the dressing room right down to the parkade. Now I didn't stare. I wasn't like standing there videotaping, but he didn't look any major discomfort, which to me is a good thing. But just because you're walking doesn't mean you can play hockey. So anybody out there who's had you feel something and it pulls, and then okay, well I can move around, okay, and then the minute you have to exert yourself, it's there again. So,
and what do we think about for Leon?
Well, you watched Leon. To me, again, it came with that collision with Olimata, right? It happened in the second period. And he did finish the game, and some people are like, oh, my God, he never should have finished the game. I'm like, even if he doesn't finish the game, I don't think the injury changes, right? Your adrenaline's high, all that sort of thing. I probably know less on Leon than I would on Connor. So Leon's looked to me like it was like if you watched it when he hit, it was kind of like a knee, I thought, but doesn't mean it is. That's just what I thought. So
he's not often injured, our Leon.
No, doesn't miss many games. So I look at Draisaitl's just his ability to stay healthy and his ability to play through some injuries. We've seen it before from him. But I think it's smart of the organization. Like, if this was a playoff game tomorrow, I bet you both guys would play. I actually heard a story that in the playoffs last year, Ekholm was running a really high fever one game and still played. Like, I think people would probably be surprised what players play through at times in the playoffs. Now, they're not as nearly as effective, but it's March, 22nd tomorrow. You're playing the Seattle Kraken. Like, I know that Draisaitl and McDavid are big parts of your team, but you got to believe in your team that you can find a way to beat them without those two. Give them some extra, rest them. There's no reason to rest them back. Like, you can play injured when you're in the playoffs. There's zero reason to do it in the regular season.
I think a rest of McDavid and Draisaitl should be the priority.
100%. But keep in mind, they're not just going to, and if they're healthy, they're going to play, right? Connor McDavid has said it 1,000 times. He plays better when he gets into a rhythm. His words, not mine. He's not going to just, last year was the first year they convinced him to be healthy and sit in the press box for a game. It just never really happened before. And so they did it for those games against, was it Arizona and San Jose? I think it was. And, they weren't going to catch Vegas, so that's fine. But McDavid, he'll be out. Trust me, the minute he gets clearance from the doctor, he's back in. There's no question in my mind. Same with Draisaitl, because those guys want to play. He says he plays better when he feels the puck and he's touching it way more.
And this is why, casual sports fan, if you're picking a sport, the NHL is a great sport to follow, as opposed to the NBA where everyone's taking games off for phantom injuries. Hockey players want to play. That's one of the reasons why it's such an awesome sport.
Yeah. Well, lots of guys, lots of athletes, football, you can go across. There's lots of sports who play injured. Hockey, there's certain injuries in hockey that you could play with it, because when you skate, it's such a different motion, right? Like, I know guys who have a high ankle sprain who, when they walk, it bothers them more than when they skate. So you could play hockey, you can't play football because of it. Doesn't mean you're tougher. It's just a different movement in the sport.
And also the high boot, right? On a skate, that's easier to mask ankle injury sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, sometimes, the sprain, it feels better in the boot because you got more support, right? Yeah. But again, look at Trent Frederick. My understanding is Trent Frederick skated earlier this week and didn't feel great. And so now he's still, according to, now they're saying an extra 2 weeks from now. So originally, when they acquired him the day after Stan Bowman, we had him on the show, he expected that he would play before April. And that's probably what they expected at the time. But here's the thing. And that's why when everybody gets their shorts in a knot and gets all upset when a player like Mark Stone goes on a LTIR, and because he's not ready, he might be ready for playoffs. He might not be fully healthy, but he's playing because it's playoffs. But it doesn't mean that 5 days earlier he was, right? He might have been, but you don't know. So look at Trent Frederick. Do you think the Oilers are holding him out longer to their benefit? No. Everybody heals at a different time. And the injuries are legit. When guys go on LTIR, they're 100% legit. The timeline on when they come off, can they hold them out 48 hours more? Maybe, but it's well within the rules. And the Oilers are going to do it with Evander Kane. So I never want to hear another Oilers fan complain about it. Ever. It's done. Never should be complained about, because then you're a hypocrite. Full stop. Can't do it.
But Vegas is a bunch of tricksters. Can you do that?
Sip it. No, they're not.
Okay.
Mark Stone's guess what? Mark Stone got hurt again this year for a month early in the year. And then he came back. The guy's a bat and guy gets hurt. That's just what Leon Draisaitl usually doesn't get hurt. It's Stone gets hurt. It's just how it is. Right? He even came back once from that injury and didn't make the playoffs. They were in first place when he got hurt. Do you think they faked an injury? It's ludicrous. Anyway, we're not talking about that anymore. It's well past. The Oilers, like a few other teams, maybe Landeskog, maybe Kane, maybe Heiskanen, maybe Tkachuk. There's going to be lots of guys who aren't playing in the regular season who are going to play in the playoffs. It's just how it is. Hey, guys, who do you think is going to eat the most minutes with McDavid and Draisaitl gone? Well, it's a valid question, because that's a very good question, because when you talk to players, lots of guys will train. You know what? I'm probably going to be a 14 to 60-minute guy. And you train for that and you do it all the time. But I've talked to players, everybody wants more ice time until you have to play more. And all of a sudden, 20 minutes in a game compared to 16 or 15 is a significant increase. Significant. So Nugent Hopkins, I'm guessing, because he's played 23 minutes before, many times. I think he's going to play more. I think Adam Henrique for sure is going to play more. I don't, it's not like the wingers like Zach Hyman. Is he going to play significantly more? Probably not. He already plays a lot. I think Jeff Skinner is going to play more because now it's going to be fascinating to me to see, like, Nugent Hopkins will be the guy who carries the puck up the ice on the power play. And we saw Skinner on the power play yesterday. Hyman's on the power play. Who's now the fourth forward on the first unit? Won't be Corey Perry because he's the net front presence with Hyman. So is it going to be Victor Arvidsson? I'm going to guess probably. So now you've got Arvidsson as a right shot. You got Hyman in front of the net. Then you'll have Skinner and you'll have Nugent Hopkins and Bouchard. I'm going to guess. Now, does that first unit, I don't know if that first unit gets a $140 on the power play now. So we'll see. But those are the little things. I'm going to say Jeff Skinner probably sees an increase of 3 or 4 minutes. I think Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Adam Henrique for sure is going to be the two. I think it's Henrique and Nugent Hopkins without question that are going to see more minutes. Derek Ryan's going to play now tomorrow. He'd likely be the fourth line center with Jones. And then as a captain, what are they going to do there? We'll see. But, you had like Janmark they had Janmark with at times with Perry. So to me, it's going to be interesting who plays with Hyman. Like, I would think it's Henrique. That to me would make the most sense. Like, Adam Henrique was a top 6 center. He's a second line center for a long time in his career. I think he can do it for a game or two. I don't see any reason why he can't. So, hey guys, why don't they bring up Savoy? Well, they could, but Matt Savoy's not a center. Right? Like, the two guys that are out are McDavid and Draisaitl. They're centers. They're not going to play Matt Savoy at center. So people have just said they want to get Jeff Skinner more minutes. Right? Like, I don't know. I guess you could bring up Matt Savoy, but I guess I'd be surprised if they could do it. They have room because they're in LTIR. They haven't maxed up all their LTIR space, so they could call him up. But he could play big minutes. They're trying to make the playoffs in the American League. Right? Keep that in mind. So they want that opportunity. So you bring up Matt Savoy for one game and you lose that game in the American League, it's not great. So there's that factor. And they have Derek Ryan here, right? Like, Derek Ryan can play the fourth line center spot. That's where he's fit to play. So to me, that's what makes the most sense. When we come back, we'll talk about the Kraken. We'll get their side of things from Allison and Luke Cannon on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, and Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
The Alzheimer's Face-Off presented by Christensen Communities Limited hits the ice April 25th to 27th. Don't miss the Champions Luncheon on Friday, April 25th at the Edmonton Convention Center. Tables are on sale now. This year's event is hosted by accomplished sports journalist and author Scott Morrison and features the legendary locker room tales of Mike Keenan. Iron Mike grew from a highly respected NHL player to one of the most passionate coaches in hockey history. For more information or to purchase your Champions Luncheon table, visit alzheimersfaceoff.ca.
When you live in northern Alberta, you need a vehicle that is built for this climate. That's the all-new 2025 Jeep Compass, and you'll find it at St. Albert Dodge. Now, what can I say? It's a Jeep. It's a 4x4, so it's totally at home driving on snow and ice. And it's got some great standard features like an 8.4-inch touchscreen, keyless entry, and heated front seats. As I said, northern Alberta. And all starting from just $34,900. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Don't settle for being on the rate of last resort if you don't have to be. Check your most recent electricity bill. If it says the words rate of last resort on it, then there are likely better options available for you. In fact, you could save hundreds of dollars per year by switching plans. Check your bill, then go to ucahelps.ca to explore your options. You will likely find a better rate and could have hundreds more in your pocket by the end of the year. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Bracket buster. I'm talking a real bracket buster. Any significant team knocked off yet today? Well, knocking off when you're like, oh, the 8 seed lost to a 9 seed. Did you have them winning more than one game? No. Well, then that's not a bracket buster.
Maybe you had Memphis going on a bit of a run. They fell to 12 seed Colorado State earlier today.
Oh, buddy, hey, just so you know, I will give him credit. Now, I want to know, Declan, did you actually make that pick or did you just tell us all to make it and then not make it yourself? Oh, he did. Okay, good.
Thumbs up.
I had Colorado Spring and McNeese, both from D-Man, and he got them both right as the 12 seeds. So those are the only, I picked no 13, 14, 15, or 16 this year. 12s were my biggest upset. So far, 2 for 2.
I really took a shot hoping that Grand Canyon would beat Maryland.
Really? All right.
Not looking good, Gregor.
Yeah.
39-22 for the Terps.
No, I hadn't picked I hadn't filled out my bracket until we had Declan on the show on Tuesday. And when I was asked, because, what about upsets? And no, it wasn't a lot. He said, yeah, this year, not so much. So I was like, all right. Because at some point, there's not always going to be big upsets. Now, there still might be one, I guess, later today. But so far, there's been none higher than 12. So we'll see. For day one, it could look all right. Now, let's talk a little hockey as, trust me, Oiler fans a little nervous, a little upset. No Draisaitl, no McDavid. For tomorrow night for sure, and probably next Wednesday and next Thursday when the Oilers play the Kraken again, because Edmonton, 2 of their next 3 games will be against the Seattle Kraken as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And do you want a new breakfast special? Tomorrow, try the brand new Smoky Maple Breakfast Sandwiches. Bacon and egg McMuffin with smoky maple sauce, but only for a limited time. Seattle Kraken analyst Allison Lucan joins us. And Allison, unfortunately for the Kraken, the season hasn't gone the way they've wanted. However, there's been some pretty good pauses, I think, if they look for long term. And I would start with Shane Wright. And just kind of, when you look at the minutes he's played, he's been highly productive. Do you expect him to get more minutes, or what do you think he needs to do to get more minutes moving forward?
Yeah, he's definitely been a bright spot. He came around after getting scratched for a few games, sat upstairs with Ron Francis, talked the game, talked about what he saw, and he's kind of been lights out, to your point, in the role they've had him in since. But they bumped up his minutes big time in Chicago 2 games ago. I think it was close to 16 minutes there. And okay. I know he's been playing, quiet minutes in terms of the amount, but I think that was to get him really comfortable with the role he was in. But I know that the front office has visions of him getting more time and moving up the lineup, if not by the end of this year, certainly going into next.
When you see his game, and I don't know if you talked to him after, when he sat up with Ron Francis, because, well, you've sat in the press box, and at times the game does look a lot easier up there than it is on the ice. What did he learn in those games with Ron that he was able to take to the ice when he returned and play so well?
Yeah, I know one of the big messages that the front office had for him was just shoot more, right? I mean, this is a bigger bodied kid. He's willing to use his physicality. He's willing to get to the dangerous areas of the ice. And he was maybe just not being as aggressive as he needed to be. And when he got there, he was deferring a little too much. And it's that shot coming back, particularly on the power play, that I think rediscovered his game for himself. And as we all know, when you start to see him fall, you start to get more confident, and the rest of your game starts to fill in around that.
Yeah, well, you look at the season, he's got 17 goals, tied for, I think that's third on the Kraken, but he only has 77 shots. Like, he's got a 22 shooting percentage. They obviously want him to shoot more. And, part of that's maybe a little bit of minutes played, but even then, but even Chandler Stevenson, who leads them in points, he doesn't even have a shot per game. He's got 68 shots in 69 games. and those are two of their centers. Like, is it safe to say Seattle, if they're going to want to score more, they simply need the guys with the puck to shoot more?
It sure is. I mean, that has been a theme that Coach Dan Bilesma has been hitting on and off throughout the entire season. And I've asked him a couple times, do you think they're shooting more? And he turns it around and asks me if I think they are. But they kind of go and come in spurts. And I think that's been the story of this team's season, right? Is that they're not consistent enough game to game to game. You might see them come out gangbusters and be aggressive offensively, and then the next game they just can't seem to put it together, and then they fall down into the losing column and they end up where they are, in terms of standings points this year. But they do need to shoot more. Chandler Stevenson's an interesting one for me, however. I mean, this is a guy who, by his own admission, isn't going to put up a lot of goals. But he's a really important playmaker for them. If you watch how he plays, he's really, really smart, and his assists show that. I think that him being able to take the minutes off of a Shane Wright too, it's a non-traditional look for a center. I hear your point on maybe he should be producing more in the goal column, but I think for what the Kraken had wanted him to do, at least, he's fulfilling that ask. But everyone else needs to shoot a lot more.
Allison, speaking of Chandler Stevenson, he left that game in Minnesota 2 nights ago. Is he going to play on Saturday?
Yeah, we're not sure. I watched his last shift. I didn't see anything egregious. As you all know, at this time of year, everyone's nursing something. There's a chance that, maybe they just didn't need him to push something more in a game that seemed to be pretty clear in terms of how it was going to end up at that point. Have not heard word yet from the road crew, but we'll have to wait and see what Coach Bilesma says. He's usually pretty cagey about his lineup, so I guess we probably won't know till tomorrow's game.
So you look at the Kraken, and the season overall, hasn't gone, I think, the way they'd wanted. They were hoping to probably, be a lot more competitive and be one of those teams. There's 4 teams battling for that wild card race, and they were hoping to be that. They've made some moves. They add Capo Kako to get a little bit younger. How has Capo played since coming over?
Yeah, he's been really, really good. It's kind of the reverse situation of what we were talking about with Shane Wright, and that, he comes in and Ron Francis says, we'll see what this kid is. We're going to give him opportunity to show us. And that was the narrative in New York, right? He couldn't crack the top 6. He couldn't crack the top power play. Well, he gets both of those opportunities in Seattle, and he's looked really comfortable. He's been really well playing against on a line, with Matty Beniers and Jaden Schwartz there. They've been really good in terms of their cohesiveness, and he sits in the locker room right next to fellow Finn Eli Tolvanen. So I think that helps off the ice with his comfort as well. He lived with him before he found his own spot here in Seattle. So I think this is a player who got a bigger opportunity and definitely took advantage of it. I think the Kraken have gone from we'll see if this kid can be what people hoped he would, to now saying we probably want to make sure this player stays with us for a while.
Vince Dunn, when he plays, big impact player for the team. Him missing 20 games obviously is a huge blow for them on the back end. If you look at Seattle's defense, and I know, Allison, you crunch a lot of the numbers, which defensemen in Seattle maybe have played better than the team results would suggest?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think Vince Dunn is a curious one for me. I really like his game. And for me too, when I look at who is playing better, it's what does the team look like when they're not in the lineup, right? That's always a really revealing exercise. And Vince just makes the team better. And it's not necessarily the points he puts up, although he does do that. He's one of the best passers on the team. And in a healthy season, he's been top 2 or 3 in terms of stretch passes or those first passes in the entire league. So I think his importance is way up there. I think that Brandon Montour has proven to be what they hoped he would be. He's on pace to beat his point totals from that career year 2 seasons ago. So that's impressive for him, particularly in the goals column. And I think that Riker Evans is probably, now he's hitting a little bit of a slump here of late in his play, and he saw some press box time because of it. Okay. But I think he's showing to be better than maybe they had hoped. This is a kid who might be growing up into his own version of Vince Dunn in a couple years.
Because if you look at Montour and then you look at Dunn, Adam Larson play on my team any days is excellent defensively. Jamie Alexiak's huge. Like, they've got some base, like they seem to have a decent foundation on the back end. Is it just, lacking some high offensive players? And that's, hard to find, but that's going to have to be what they find a way, if you're Ron Francis, to acquire here the next few years. Because if I look at Montour and Dunn and Larson and Alexiak, and you mentioned Riker Evans, Like, that's a pretty solid top 5 mix of offensive guys and then obviously very good defensively in Larson.
Yeah, I agree. I really like their defensive group. I don't understand the couple games, and the Wild game last game was one of those where they just have breakdowns in coverage that don't make any sense. But to your point, offensively, they are getting those contributions from the back end. But on the front end, you mentioned Vince Dunn's injury. Jordan Eberle misses 40 games this year. And this is a team that relies on its depth, but is kind of showing that, what Ron Francis needs to do is make them even deeper. Because when Eberle goes out, right, all of a sudden everyone's slotting up a spot. And all of a sudden the lines aren't exactly what you wanted them to be. And I think that is what hurt them, is the minute you're being asked to play somewhere that's not making the most of what you can do, then your production suffers. So they are deep when everyone's healthy. Now they need to be more deep so that they can sustain blows that every season brings to every team.
Alison Lucan joins us. Kraken come to town tomorrow to take on the Oilers, and then Edmonton will be in Seattle next Thursday. There'll be no Draisaitl. There'll be no McDavid tomorrow night, and probably not Thursday in Seattle as well. So when you look, obviously, any team's like, oh, we don't have to face McDavid and Draisaitl. Great. But you look at it from a matchup standpoint. Have the Kraken been a heavy matchup team at all at any point this year?
They haven't so much. I mean, the one matchup that we've seen kind of come out is that they're liking the Matty Beniers line against a top line of another team. But other than that, I think it's been more about minutes management than matchups per se. And, I think that they definitely look at Edmonton rightly as a good test, whether or not 29 and 97 are out there. So particularly on the road, I think they tend to not go as hardcore matchup to matchup, maybe more so on the defensive side. They'll also switch up those pairs depending on where they are in the game. But that's what I've come to expect from Coach Bilesman and his staff.
Alison, one last one for you. Matty Beniers, he had a breakout year a few years ago. And I was like, okay, this guy's really going to produce. And then, last year wasn't the year he wanted. How would you evaluate this season overall for Beniers?
Yeah, I think it was a slower start. And again, we talked about some of the reasons why this team didn't get the start they wanted. But I think that, again, this line with Capo Caco really helped kind of energize him and bring him back and make more of what he is most comfortable doing. He likes to be on the puck. He likes to be touching the puck. He likes to be moving the puck. When you're on a line with Capo Caco, you're also getting that burst of, hey, new guys on the team, I've got to give my best. And they're combining more for scoring opportunities. They've been one of the best scoring lines for this team since Capo Caco came over. So I think they still want to see more offensive production from him, but he looks healthier to me. He looks heavier and more physical, harder on the puck this year. So if anything, he's on the right trend, I think, particularly in the back half of this season versus what last season looked like for him.
Alison, awesome stuff. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the game tomorrow night.
Thanks. You guys too. Take care.
There you go. There's Alison Lucan, analyst for the Seattle Kraken. And Shane Wright, he had a slow start, but he's been one of their most productive players. He leads their team in power play goals. He's only playing just under 30 minutes. And she did outline on the last game, he was up to 16. Like, you got nothing to play for if you're the Seattle Kraken. Why the hell isn't Shane Wright playing 60 minutes every night now the rest of the way? Like, the ones that, they lack a top, and I'm not saying he's ever going to be a top end offensive guy. Odds are he probably won't. But I've actually not minded how they've developed him. They sent him to the minors last year because I think what gets overlooked, are there guys who could play in the NHL? Could Shane Wright have played every night in the NHL? Yes. Could he have contributed? Not really. And he probably wouldn't gain any confidence. And I think that gets overlooked. I see teams time and time again. Sometimes you have a young player. Wow, we're playing 10 minutes a night. I can see as we need him. And it's like, no, put him in the minors. There's tons of guys in the AHL that can play those 10 minutes a night in the NHL where the gap is not going to be much different, but you can get, it's like Matt Savoy. People are like, hey, let's bring Matt Savoy up to Edmonton. You're going to play him what? 10, 11 minutes a night? Not going to score very much. He's not going to play in the power play. He's not going to get a lot of puck touches. Why? What's the long-term benefit? They got to make the playoffs down there. Let him be the go-to guy playing 20-plus minutes a night. It's way better for me. Way better for the long-term development of Matt Savoy. Let him keep his confidence. Just keep rolling. You got a little taste of the NHL. All right, now I know what to work on. It's awesome. Next time I'll probably be a little bit more comfortable. But you're coming down the stretch run. I'm not thinking Matt Savoy is going to be suddenly a difference maker. You hope that he's a difference maker in Bakersfield. And then now next year, you can come to camp and you can have a legit shot to compete for sure. But I think it's a little misguided to think to call up Matt Savoy now because Draisaitl and McDavid are injured. Like, Now's the time you're going to play Henrique more. You're going to play Nugent Hopkins more. You're going to play Jeff Skinner more. That's what you're going to do. I don't want to bring Matt Savoy up, who's not going to be here when McDavid and Draisaitl are healthy anyway. So get the other guys who are going to be here, hopefully going a little bit more. That would be my thought anyway.
It's a shame I really missed as many games as he did this season. Now that he's captain of the team and stuff like that. That's
he missed like 40 games, I think, or close to, Since he's been back, he's pretty good. I think his points per game is first or second on their team. So, they obviously miss him, no question. And the problem with the Kraken, they have a lot of solid NHL players who are getting older each year. And like Matt Beniers hasn't taken at all much of an offensive step. Like Shane Wright's taken a much bigger step this year offensively in a limited role, which is smart. But they're gonna need Capo Caco to do even more. He's been all right since coming over, so he's obviously been more productive there than he was in New York. But they got to find a way. Like I never understood the Chandler Stevenson contract. The Montour one makes sense, right? Because he can help provide offense as he has. But Chandler Stevenson, good for him. But I'm not sure on a good team he's a number 3 center on a good team, like a real competitive team. He's a solid third line center, and when he's where he is there for that long, they're just going to struggle to score. So that's why, to me, the orders, it sucks. There's no McDavid or Draisaitl tomorrow, but it's a Seattle Kraken in town. Even without those two, I could go across the lineup, and I don't think Seattle has clearly more skill than the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers definitely have more skill in the back end. And even up front, like, there's no Zach Hyman on that team. I'm not sure. Chandler Stevenson's never really been consistently as offensively as good as Nugent Hopkins. Overall, like if you look at power play 5-on-5, so Jaden Schwartz is he more like, is he any better than Jeff Skinner? I don't think so. So I think Edmonton, obviously it'll be different. Like their power play is going to look very different without McDavid and Draisaitl, but it's an opportunity, and we'll get into that when we return. The opportunity and who you think will be the ones to step up. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox.
Volvo Cars Edmonton invites you to their biggest sale of the year. The March showroom event is on now. Lease or finance a 2025 XC60 plug-in hybrid from 1.99% and save $3,500. Lease a 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $5,500. Lease or finance a 2024 XC40 plug-in hybrid from 0.49% and save $2,500. Don't miss the March showroom event at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Great vehicles, better service. Only at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com.
If you or someone you care for are injured in a motor vehicle accident, please listen up. I'm Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and let me proudly say that we won't be the place your insurer tells you to go. We won't be the place because we don't sign agreements with the insurance company. We don't work for them, we work for you. We do want to be the place that your friends, family, and other medically trained professionals send you. So if your insurance company says that you have to see their therapist, you should know that's not true. You have the right to choose where you go, and we hope you choose us. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
With the lead up to the playoffs underway, players are definitely stepping up their game.
And the fans are doing the same. Simple snacks like chips and dip may work at the front half of the season, but now more and more fans are rocking the Wilhauk beef jerky for game time get-togethers.
Just make sure you bring enough for everyone if you want to be invited back for the playoffs.
Make your next hockey game day a Will Hockey game day with Wilhauk beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win games with salad.
Want sports talk on the go?
You can listen to 1440 on the AM dial or stream us on your mobile device through apps like Radio Player, iHeart, and Stingray Music.
Edmonton sports fans,
turn to Sports 1440.
1440.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit FemaleSuperLeague.com.
Mr. Ruther checks off his bucket list. Skydiving is tops on my list.
I want to go to Bali.
What's at the top of your bucket list, Mr. Ruther?
Definitely the Rubbermaid H2864R. It has 14 quarts of capacity with a spill
oil-free pour spout, and a corrosion-resistant handle. Wow, what a bucket.
You know that a bucket list isn't a list of nice buckets, right?
I do. That's how good this bucket is.
For a plumber with buckets of plumbing passion, call Mr. Rooter.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. At participating McDonald's in Canada.
Explore Internet just got 10 times faster. 5G Ultra brings incredible speeds to homes in rural and small town Canada. Upgrade today at xplore.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Feeding a crowd, get the triple play. 3 large specialty or 5 topping pizzas for only $54 when you use promo code 3play at papajohns.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you are having yourself a lovely day. It is a Positive Friday, Order fans. I know it's a little bit of a stretch for you to find some positivity with the news, but I will say, you know what? I think most people, at least the texters, are like, you know what? I think this isn't a bad thing, and it's true. Like, in case you're just joining us, McDavid, Draisaitl both will not be playing tomorrow night and likely out a week, which means Wednesday against Dallas, Thursday in Seattle. So maybe they could return next Saturday against the Calgary Flames. We'll see. They're obviously not going to be rushing either one of them back. They got, according to Frank Cervelli, they went to some MRI imaging to find out what it is. I've been told, they think maybe some soft tissue, in the case of Leon Draisaitl. I don't know Leon Draisaitl's one as much. It looked like might have been a knee. You just saw him discomfort. Everybody saw the video when he ran into Ole Mott in the second period of that game a few nights ago on Tuesday. And they'll be out tomorrow against Seattle. So we'll see. Now, last night, as we get to our playoff report, brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. It is Truck Month, baby. So stop in now at GMC. You get a $5,000 cash purchase credit on 2025 Sierra HD models. See more at gmccanada.ca. And last night, there was 2 massive games involving the final wildcard position in both the East and the West. St. Louis beat Vancouver in overtime, and the Islanders, winners in overtime, and are now suddenly 2 points out of a playoff spot. What the hell is going on? The Islanders, they just never go away. They just keep battling and scrapping. I know I was one who's like, they're not. At the start of March, I'm like, well, let's count the Islanders out. They can't make the playoffs. There's 5 teams ahead of them. They got like 8 points out. It's not going to happen. Well, here we are. They've won 3 in a row. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10, and suddenly they're within 2 points of the Montreal Canadiens. To break it all down, longtime beat reporter at Newsday for the Islanders, Andrew Gross, joins us. And Andrew, come on, man. Like, let's be real. Did you think the Islanders were out of it at the start of the month?
I wrote after they lost to the Rangers, I think it was 5-1 at the Garden.
Okay.
That was before the trade deadline. I wrote a column that night imploring Lou Lamoriello to really dig deep and, just start to look to next season. I wrote that, all the evidence points to the breaks going against them, the injuries, the inconsistent play. I just wrote that it wasn't their season and, that they should do more than trade Brock Nelson. They really needed to start stocking up for future seasons. And recognize this season for what it was. And you know what? That's why Lou Lamoriello is in the Hall of Fame, and I write about it, you know, right? So,
well,
they're a scrappy team. They're falling back on this narrative. Well, we've done it the last 2 seasons. We've scraped our way into the playoffs, so why shouldn't we do it this season? You know, 2 seasons ago also, they did it with Matthew Barzal being injured. He's out now. There's, you know, really no hope that he's going to be back before the end of the regular season. And of course, they, you know, because of the contract, they couldn't come to a contract extension with Brock Nelson. That is the singular and only reason why Lou Lamoriello traded him. He wanted to keep everything. He wanted to keep this team together to make a run at the playoffs.
Well, and hey, I will say though, he did get really good value in Brock Nelson from Colorado, man.
Oh, yeah, no, that's you know, that high hopes for Callum Ritchie. You get a first round pick out of it. Yeah, no, Lou certainly got some value there, and you know, and as this season's gone on, you look at his trade. Was it 2-3 seasons ago when he at the draft sent a 13th round pick to the Montreal Canadiens for Alexander Romanov, and Romanov's become their best defenseman. So, you know, when Lou does make trades, some of them turn out pretty good for the Islanders.
Yeah. So you look now, and I look at their upcoming schedule, and they got the you know, another kind of plucky team, the Calgary Flames tomorrow night. They host the Flames. Then they got the Blue Jackets, who, man, they were the Cinderella story. It would have been the great fairy tale ending, but they seem to have fallen off. And then they got a Vancouver Canucks, a team that's, you know, battling like them for a playoff spot on a homestand. And then they go out on the road. Like it's not like their next 3 games are very winnable for them.
Yeah. Now against the Flames, and it's an afternoon puck drop in New York rather than the Islanders' usual 7:30. So I don't know if that will affect their biorhythms or anything. But also Ilya Sorokin, who has been really so good. His last, I can't even count it, but he's just making some jaw-dropping, you know, saves through traffic and really keeping the Islanders in it when they get very scrambly, like they did against, you know, last night against the Canadiens, who are just a far superior skating team than the Islanders. And you know, it was very stark how much faster the Canadians were. And Sorokin really helped keep that team in the game. But Marcus Hogberg is going to start against the Flames tomorrow. So he's been good in relief of Ilya Sorokin. He's just, you know, he's not quite at the same level as Ilya Sorokin. So, you know, we'll see what we get there.
Well, that's the thing. Like Sorokin, it's almost like he's like, oh, finally, I get to be the guy and I get to play all the time, and he's loving it.
Absolutely. He's going to play 65 games this season. You know, we have not seen or heard from Semyon Varlamov since November 29th. And the last time we talked to Lou Lamoriello, you know, there was basically no hope that we would see Varley again this season. Now, you know, what that means for next season going forward, you know, I can't tell you, but Marcus Hogberg, who, you know, spent the last 3 seasons back home in Sweden playing, he hadn't started an NHL game since he did so for the Senators in 21 in April. You know, he's come in and he's really, you know, he's helped the backup position. Now, Marcus also dealt with like a hand stinger issue that kept him sidelined for a while. But now that he's back, Patrick was trying to rotate him in, you know, maybe every 4 or 5 games or so. And so far, Hogberg has been, you know, equal to, you know, what he's had to do.
Andrew Gross joins us talking New York Islanders, who are suddenly 2 points out of a playoff spot. There's 14 games to go. And Montreal has the tougher schedule between the 2 teams. There's no question about that. You know, they got Colorado again. They got Carolina twice. They got Florida twice. Now, the Islanders, I mentioned the next 3. Then they do have, I think, a back-to-back against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They also have a chance, Andrew, to be part of history the Ovi watch, right? Because they play the Capitals twice in April, both times in New York. I'm guessing, like, have you seen, I don't know if you like, have ticket prices and ticket sales for those two games specifically in April gone up a lot on Long Island?
I have not specifically checked the secondary market for that, but you're going to have a lot of, let's face it, the Islanders haven't been selling out their buildings, so there are going to be tickets available anyway. So they're going to be, outside New York Islander fans probably driving up the price for those games, wanting to be a part of history. So yeah, I suspect those would be two of the the better selling games, or certainly the first one. We'll see when Ovi actually passes Gretzky here, but he's got two chances to do it against the Islanders. Like you said, the Canadians might have the tougher schedule, but the Islanders' path is not easy. Going into that last game, I think they had 15 games remaining, and 9 were against teams that currently held the playoff spot going into that night. You talk about, the Canucks are coming in, and 2 games against the Capitals, and it's a tough back-to-back next weekend at Tampa, at Carolina. They face the Rangers one more time at home, and, who knows what we'll see from the Rangers. That's a whole nother story. But and then, the Islanders' regular season finale is in Columbus, and, there's still a chance that game could be a play-in game, depending on how the Canadians do, and if, the Blue Jackets ever learn how to score a goal again. That regular season finale could literally be for a playoff spot.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. It would be great if it was. That's such a fantastic story. And could you imagine, just from a scheduling standpoint, you've got Columbus on the 17th and the Islanders, and the winner makes the playoffs and the loser goes home. We saw that, I think, in 2010, the Rangers in Philly, and the Rangers got in and went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. So, the way this season's gone, it's been unpredictable. But I do want to ask you, I know the Islanders, their biggest rivals, the Rangers. The Rangers, to me, there's no bigger disappointment in the NHL than the New York Rangers. They started this season 12-4-1. Since then, they're 29th in the NHL over their last 50 games. 29th. Like, they have been a fall from grace beyond something I don't think anybody expected. Ever since Chris Drury sent out the memo.
Yeah, and you don't want to, it might be a little unfair of me to wildly speculate just because I'm not around that team anymore on a day-to-day basis, but just looking at what you see on the ice and looking, at the talent they have, and just knowing, how they got rid of Barclay Goodrow and Jacob Trouba, and, that rehashing all that, it just, sometimes that looks like a team that is not highly motivated to play for its management. And, I can't come up with a better explanation as to why this team takes so many games off. There's just, there's a disconnect and a dysfunction within that organization. Again, that's me looking in from the outside, but, that would be my first, the first dart I threw at the board there.
Well, Andrew, we appreciate it. And, the Oilers saw the Islanders, of course, last Friday game that went to overtime. Draisaitl getting both goals in the winner. The Islanders, they find ways to scratch and claw, and it's they've made it fun to watch. The playoff race for the wild card in both the East and West has a lot of teams battling, so it should be fun. And honestly, I don't know if there's a favorite at all. Montreal, the Islanders, hell, you can't count out the Rangers. You mentioned Columbus. And Ottawa, suddenly, they've been spanked 2 in a row. Like, in a week, they might not even be safely in the playoff spot. So who knows?
Well, it was fun. One of the hard things, from a sports writer point of view is when you try and project the playoffs and, just practically you try and get hotel rooms in all these different cities. Well, to me, this season, it seemed a fairly easy task. If the Islanders got in, they're going to face the Capitals. They're going to be the second wild card team, and the Caps are going to, win the conference. So I just booked Washington, right? Mm-hmm. And like you said, now all of a sudden, since that Montreal game, the Senators are, suddenly looking discombobulated. And, now I'm thinking, well, if the Islanders get in, could they get to that second spot? Might they face a Florida or Toronto or whoever comes out of the Atlantic? So there is a little bit of uncertainty going in, and that's that's why these 4 or 5 weeks and then the playoff ahead, it's literally the best time of the year if you love hockey.
Yeah, for sure. It is very true. Andrew, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Have an awesome day.
Okay, be well. I'll talk to you guys soon.
There you go. That's Andrew Gross. That was our playoff push brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Enjoy Truck Month. Get a great deal at gmccanada.ca. Coming up after 4 o'clock, Craig Button is going to join us. Also, we got Speck. Alan Mitchell will be by a little bit later on, of course. You have the orders. If you missed it, of course, no Draisaitl, no McDavid for tomorrow, and likely the next 3 games, at least without those. And as I've said, opportunity knocks. So there you go. Let's get to Conman and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Stop in at Fountain Tire up until April 26th because you can save up to 25% off select tires, plus get an additional $120 mail-in rebate on a set of 4 tires. Book your appointment at fountaintire.com. Some restrictions apply.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Okay, so you missed it. Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are expected to be out up to a week for the Edmonton Oilers. They will not play tomorrow when the Oilers host the Kraken down at Rogers Place. That one gets going at 8 o'clock. That means pregame coverage with Walker and Paulson at 7. Tonight on the ice, just one game in the NHL. Penguins host the Jackets. That gets going at 5 o'clock. In the association, it is a busy one. Pistons and Dallas Spurs up against the Sixers. The Hornets travel to OKC. Timberwolves meet the Pelicans. Rockets in Miami. And the Wizards hosting the Orlando Magic. March Madness Day 2 continues right now. Second half, Ole Miss leads North Carolina 63-59, and Grand Canyon trailing Maryland 42-30 as the second half gets going. Later today, Norfolk State takes on number 1 Florida. Troy meets Kentucky. You've got Marquette taking on New Mexico. Akron, Arizona. UConn, Oklahoma. Xavier takes on number 6 Illinois. Number 2 Michigan State up against 15 Bryant, and Oregon battles Liberty earlier today. Winners including Duke, St. Mary's, Alabama, Iowa State, Colorado State, and Baylor getting past number 8 Mississippi State. The Edmonton Oil Kings on the road tonight, taking on the Lethbridge Hurricanes just after 7 o'clock. They'll wrap up their season on Sunday when they take on Calgary down at Rogers Place. That starts at 4. In the AJ, Spruce Grove will host Vernon out at Grant Pier Arena. Puck drop at 7. Also at 7, the Crusaders are down in Brooks, taking on the Bandits, and the BCHL and the AJHL playoffs kicking off tonight in Fort Mac. As they take on the Whitecourt Wolverines. You also have Grand Prairie hosting Lloyd, Kodiaks in Calgary, and Canmore heading to Drumheller to take on the Dragons. Puck drop 7 o'clock in all of those. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Craig Button from the NHL on TSN and ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440. Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Oil Kings hockey takes the ice at Rogers Place for the final regular season game this Sunday.
It's the Team Awards game. See who scores the hardware pregame for Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, MVP, and more.
With all the family fun Sunday face painting, bouncy castles, and Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less.
Plus a postgame team autograph session.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Red Deer Rebels. Team Awards game, 4 p.m. Sunday.
The final home game this season at Rogers Place before playoff action kicks off, starting at $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Truck Month is on now at GMC, and it's one of the best times to get behind the wheel. Right now, get a $5,000 cash purchase credit on 2025 Sierra HD models with a 13.4-inch diagonal center touchscreen, an available Duramax 6.6-liter turbo diesel V8 engine with 470 horsepower, plus the most trailering assistance technologies in its class. Sierra has some serious hauling power and is the only off-road ready HD. Truck Month is on now. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
Metal Supermarkets is locally owned, locally operated. They love this city and serving its people. In fact, they're as Edmontonian as dodging potholes in the spring. It requires a steady hand and extreme focus. Ironically, the same skills for cutting metal to your precise measurements. Now, can someone please give me a yee-haw? Thank you, sir. The local convenience stores for Southside, West End.
Talk to you guys soon.
There you go. That's Andrew.
Forced to the Sour brought to you by RV Wars. RV Wars is back. Multiple dealers all battling for your business, clearing out the last remaining 2024's pre-tariff pricing. Don't miss out on an incredible deal. Visit rvwars.ca for details.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back. It's Positive Friday edition of the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, sports1440.ca. Also, where you can listen to the show, maybe get us on the app. We love it. However you're listening, watching, maybe you're downloading the podcast later. Thank you very much for making the Gregor Show part of your day. Listening, watching, rehashing. It's fantastic. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Good luck. Get your Lotto Max tickets tonight. $55 million. PlayAlberta.ca. I wonder what the line would be on which Oiler will elevate the most in the absence of McDavid and Draisaitl.
The Nuge. The Nuge is huge.
Well, yeah. Well, he's obviously going to be one of the. I think Adam Henrique would be my vote.
Corey Perry seems to have it figured out.
Yeah, I'm not sure he can elevate much more than he's already doing, though. That's the thing. Like, guy's got 15 goals playing limited minutes. Like, I don't know if Corey Perry at his age and speed can play a lot more minutes. Like Jeff Skinner, I think will play more minutes than I didn't even look what he played last night, but I know he played 12 minutes 2 nights ago. I actually didn't even look at what his minutes were. I'm assuming in the third period they went up a little bit, but I could see Jeff Skinner probably having like a few games, maybe season high in minutes here over the next few games.
I heard Corey Perry is the new LeBron. He's getting better with every passing year.
Well, I'll give him credit. Like, nobody thought he was going to score 15 goals this year. I don't think there's anybody who thought. 17 minutes last night for Jeff Skinner. I have to look. That might be a season high. I got to go back and look at him this season. So, and it was interesting talking to him, because he scored 2 goals. But like he said, after he goes, man, I've had a lot better looks that didn't go in. Or like neither one, like that first goal on Hellebuck, normally that goal shouldn't go in, right? But hey, it went in, good for him. And the second one was the old, rest in peace, Darren Detition. But he was like, man, you could have timed that one with the sundial. Like, it didn't get much on it. It just slowly trickled through. But good for him. Like, hockey can be weird sometimes. You get a lot of great chances, you never score. And then other times you get some chances and it finally goes in. So when you're a goal scorer, just seeing that light go on can give you a little bit of a boost for sure. So we'll see. I'm looking at his minutes played. Yes, 1706 last night was a season high for Jeff Skinner. He'd played 16 minutes 3 times, all coming in October. So that was the most minutes. Really, he did play once in December, October. So really, like that's 15-27 back in February. So yeah, it's been a while for him. So I could see Skinner up at probably 17 minutes again.
When you were talking earlier with Andrew Gross, and you're talking about how the Islanders are scrappy down the playoff drive. Do you remember the year that Smitty got traded to the Islanders and then they scored those super last minute goals down the stretch? And like Smitty was the focal point of it, wearing the jersey, and it was like the hardest pill to swallow of all time.
Well, not as intimately as you do, clearly.
Well, that's when we got so mad we started Oilers Nation.
That's
watching
right.
Smitty.
Yeah, but that wasn't your original name of the website.
It was Bring Ryan Home.
Yes.
Because we thought Smitty needed to come back to Edmonton. We were very upset. I'll never forget that. The Islanders are famous for their last-minute playoff pushes.
Yeah,
Nothing more exciting than an underdog.
Yeah, he had 15 points in the 18 games in the trade for them, then had 4 points in 5 playoff games for the Islanders.
And the Oil missed the playoffs.
Didn't sign with them, though. Then he signed with the Colorado Avalanche, if you recall.
Remember, Colorado's the only one willing to do a 5-year deal. And by the end of that deal, he was back in Edmonton. Oh, my goodness. Welcome home, Smitty.
Yeah. That is funny because he went to L.A. and then he got out of L.A. and came to Edmonton. That's how it worked.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, and then finished up, what did he play? 3 years with Edmonton, I think. Came back and played 3 years with the Oilers.
He's a warrior.
Yeah. I think it was 12, 13, and 14. Right, because he was there for the 13 season. And then I think the next year was 14 because that's when he had the 5, like his last shift as an Oiler was like 5.5 minutes or something like that. So
they let him wear the C. What a night.
Hey, guys, if you had to choose between having Janmark or Philp at center for the next 3 games, what do you think is the better option? Well, if I look at it, I would argue I'd just put Kapanen at center, and he'd be the better option at this point. Like, Noah Philp, when he came up, he didn't do a lot. Let's call a spade a spade. He didn't do a lot. And actually down lately in the American League, it's not like he's been tearing it up. So right now, I would have Kapanen because I think their centers are going to be Nugent Hopkins and Henrique. And I could see it being Kapanen and Derek Ryan. And so you have Skinner will play with Hyman. Now, I would assume Henrique goes up there. I could be wrong. But I could see that as a combination tomorrow night, right? The Oilers had a very optional skate today. I think there was like 7 guys on the ice. Evander Kane did skate again. But, skating in an optional skate doesn't mean he's ready to go full bore. Just in case people are like, hey, Kane's skating, he can play. People are wondering, hey, maybe they'll put McDavid and Draisaitl on LTIR to activate Kane. How about a big no to that? That would mean minimum 10 games for both of them because 30 days, obviously, that'll be the end of the regular season. It'd be 10 games. The early diagnosis was that it's not going to be that serious. So I do not see them sitting out those guys for that long. I just don't see it. Not happening. So, yeah, I got to look at Henrique's, how much did he play with not with McDavid, but with Hyman? Because that's where I would play him. I think he's your best option there. So I'm not playing Matthias Janmark there. Sorry, Matthias, but not the right answer. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We got a lot of texts coming in. Hey, Gregor, I have to admit, I was kind of irked when I first read the comments about Hervey, but then listening to his definition, it made a lot more sense on what he said. There was nothing disparaging. My thoughts are, what do you think about the CFLPA sending out a release on Hervey? I'll go find that release. I'm going to read it, and I think it's a lot to do about nothing. So, so here's the statement that came out today from the CFLPA. The CFLPA released the following, asserting that with Ed Hervey asserting there are no superstars in the CFL, letters on the subject are being sent by the CFLPA to the Elks and the Canadian Football League. We're deeply disturbed. We're deeply disturbed by the public comments of Elks GM General Manager Ed Hervey. as reported by 3 Down Nation. Hervey's comments were insulting and ignorant. He disparaged every single one of our members and our entire league when stated the CFL has no superstar players. We're calling him to retract the statement, acknowledge the immense value and skill that CFL players bring to the sport. The CFL is home to some of the most dynamic athletes in professional football. It's time to show respect for their contributions both on and off the field. Deeply disturbed. Are you serious right now? Come on. Now, if you missed it, this is what Ed Hervey said, because he was on our show earlier talking about the combine, and then I did ask him about his comments about superstars. He said, quote, "The reality is we have a league of really good and great players, but the term superstar to me is Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, guys known globally. That's my definition. I think our league has excellent players, and I'm very proud of the league. But when I was growing up, Muhammad Ali, Wayne Gretzky, guys like that, when they walked in the building or on the street, everyone knew who they were. My comment wasn't a slight to any CFL player. There are great players in the league. But to me, a superstar transcends a sport. I wasn't knocking anyone, and if someone got their feeling hurts, I can't control that." What do you want him to say? You're deeply disturbed? Like I saw Gino Lewis online, and obviously, Gino's, hey, too bad Gino Lewis and Ed Hervey wasn't a DB, and we could see on the field matchup here. It'd be great. But Gino Lewis is talking about everybody has their own definition of what a superstar is. And so some of the players today, if you think you're a superstar, no offense, you're not a superstar. And if you're publicly stating you're how many superstars say I'm a superstar? You ever heard Connor McDavid say he's a superstar? Does anybody think he's not a superstar? No. I don't know many superstars that go around claiming I'm a superstar.
Who was the last superstar in the CFL?
Well, if you're going on the global recognition, no. But if I'm just looking at CFL superstars, I would probably, it's a good question. Ricky Ray was pretty well known, played the most important position, won multiple Grey Cups, was great for a long time, right? Anthony Calvillo. I'm going to say, I thought now he wasn't here very long, but he dominated the rush end in BC, Cam Wake. And then he went to the NFL and dominated the NFL. Cam Wake was really good, right? Now he was here for 3 or 4 years, but he was dominant, right? I had people telling me that Nathan Rourke's a superstar. I'm like, he's had one good season. And then what did he do when he came back last year? Nothing, right? He looked average. People said Gino Lewis is Gino Lewis isn't a superstar for me. He's a good receiver, but he's not Milt Stegall. If we're going receivers, you look at G. Roy Simon, you look at Milt Stegall, right? You look at those guys, elite all the time, dominant numbers year after year after year. If we want to get in a conversation, and it's not disparaging people, but, and I've said this for a long time, the word great gets thrown out way too often. Now we're going to start calling people superstars who aren't superstars. Come on. So let's be real here. So I just don't I don't know about that. There's some really great players, but a superstar, even in the NHL right now, there's not many superstars.
Superstars to me are transcendent, sort of outside of the sport too.
Yeah.
People get excited about superstars in the media and that. It's not just necessarily on ice stuff, on the field stuff.
Yeah. It's true, right? Wayne Gretzky, right? Alex Ovechkin right now, Crosby, those type of guys. Tom Brady, obviously. Right? Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. I'm not even, Drew Brees was really good, but he wouldn't be in the superstar category, Connor, would he?
Yeah, I have to go back. I think so. I think he'd be there.
Do you think outside of diehard NFL fans, do you think a lot of people know who Drew Brees is? They know who Tom Brady is. They know who Patrick Mahomes is.
They know Travis Kelce.
Yeah, for sure.
That's now because of dating. We talked about that.
But if you're saying a superstar...
No. He's super known. He's not a superstar player. He's a really good player, but he wasn't a superstar until he started dating. I shouldn't say. He didn't have as much known status until he dated Taylor Swift. So it wasn't his football playing abilities that made him a superstar globally.
Can you become famous enough off the field?
But now we're talking famous, not superstar.
That's what I'm asking, though.
Right.
Can you become a superstar by off the field stuff, or is it all in-game achievement?
Well, that helps him for sure, right? No question. But I'm sure if you ask a lot of the Swifties, do they know what position he plays? How many percent? What's the percentage you're going to know? So, he's well known more. Yeah, sure. But I don't think, and Travis Kelce's one of the best tight ends the game's ever had. And I don't know if you'd put him as a superstar.
And he's in Happy Gilmore too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That could argue.
Probably smart.
He's a star.
Smart to put him in there. Hey, guys, Warren Moon. That's a CFL superstar. I totally agree, Brent. Very good one. Yes, 100%. Like, dominant player, super athletic. It's great. He was, went on to an unbelievable football career in the NFL as well. But if you're going off the definition of superstar, you could argue that Warren Moon might be the only one because of, he went to the NFL, and lots of the other ones are Canadian. In Canada, they're superstars, but they're not global.
Doug Flutie?
Close, but his Boston College days and stuff, yeah. But even him, I don't know if, like, football fans, yes. But to me, a superstar is known well outside of his sport. That people are like, like I remember when I would travel and we go to Costa Rica and we go to Belize, you meet people, hey, where are you from? Edmonton. Oh, that's the mall and Wayne Gretzky. Right? That's, how many people would say that? So that to me is, hey, I don't know hockey, but I know Wayne Gretzky and he played in Edmonton for a lot of people. And that was like, I was traveling in the 2000s. He hadn't played in Edmonton in 15 years and they still knew it. So that to me is a little bit different.
But Travis Kelce is one of the top tight ends of all time. And in Happy Gilmore too, isn't a superstar?
Well, first of all, the movie hasn't come out yet, so that doesn't matter. And second of all, I don't know if he would be. Like, up until he dated Taylor Swift, he was not on the level of Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes when it came to global recognition.
But that's when he maybe became a final level superstar. He moves the needle in pop culture.
He's got his podcast too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know now. Yeah. Okay. Sure. But his podcast is, let's be honest, is because of Taylor Swift. Like, let's just call a spade, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but that's why, right?
Doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Tom Brady
Jason
probably got
Kelsey's wife started a podcast and was like super high, and people like, what? Like,
she interviewed Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
That's because of Taylor Swift.
Yes, exactly. 100% it is.
Brady's recognition wasn't hurt by, marrying Giselle,
Yeah, but
that helped him too.
It helped, but he'd also won 7 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and he plays the marquee position, so you're naturally going to have a lot more eyes on
that's
you.
the other thing, 100%.
Commercials,
right?
all that sort of thing.
Like, you look at, it's harder for a defensive player to be like a well-known superstar.
Was Gizmo Williams a superstar?
He was very well known as an entertainer, but he's not if we're going off of the global one, no. As I said, in CFL circles, yes.
He would be a
CFL. In
CFL.
CFL circles, if you'll just go to the very basic of this, in CFL circles, any listener today, tell me, who is a superstar today in CFL circles? Because I was trying to make a list. Like, I had people tell me Zach Collaros. I'm like, Zach Collaros ain't a superstar. Like, Winnipeg's won, great. They've also lost a lot, but they won. But he's not a superstar. Like, he doesn't dominate games.
Rocket Ismail, remember him? Was he a superstar?
No.
What about Pocket Rocket, his little brother?
No.
Rahib?
No. Like, honestly, today, Cons, I'm not sure the CFL has one. And that's not a knock. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But I'm not sure the league right now, like, who's the face of the CFL today? I don't think there is one. And there was for years, right? For a 5-year window, Mike Riley was that guy. He's super personable, right? Good looking dude. They won, took huge shots. I'm not sure there is one right now in the CFL, which is a great opportunity for someone to become that guy. Could Nathan Rourke become that guy if he plays like he did a few years ago? Yes. Okay. Trade Ford in Edmonton because he's so exciting to watch. That's the other thing. That's something that winning helps, but being an exciting player that's just like, wow, that definitely can help.
They all get hurt too in the CFL. They're not out there game in, game out, which I don't think helps it. But they're not putting up massive numbers that we're looking back. Like, historic year, record-breaking year. No quarterback in the CFL stays healthy anymore. So, I'm with you. Like, Brady Oliveira to me.
Interesting one.
Like, Brady Oliveira has had 2 unreal seasons. And I think you could ask casual CFL fans, like, he could walk past you on the street and you'd have no idea who he is.
Yeah, he might be the closest guy, though. You're right. He's had some pretty good years.
Like 1,500 last year or 2 years ago, 14 last season, and 1 less game played. Like, to me, he's the probably the premier player in the CFL right now. But if he walked past in the mall, would you know who he is?
Well, I would, but it's my job. So
You want a superstar, Connor? You know what they need to do? Drop an album. That's how you cross over. Cooper Marody, superstar.
Quick break. When we come back, Craig Button will join us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
This is going to make you hungry. Booster Juice just dropped new guacamole and black bean grilled fresh options.
What the what?
Yeah, a guacamole black bean wrap, guacamole chicken panini, and an egg and chipotle black bean wrap.
What a trio! Holy guacamole!
Bye-bye, boring as bread sandwiches.
Guac, yeah! New flavors, new cravings.
Avocado up to wraps and paninis from Booster Juice. Canadian-born, blending since 1999. Download the Booster Rewards app and order one today.
RV Wars hits the north side March 27th to 30th at the Old Lowe's building. Go RV, Vision RV, and Arcan RV have joined forces for RV Wars. Take advantage of pre-tariff pricing on travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes, and more. The last of the 2024 models are being cleared out. Make no payments for 6 months OAC. Now is the time to buy with special discounted finance rates. Free admission with a donation to the food bank. RV Wars on the north side, 9603 165 Avenue. Visit rvwars.ca.
There's one. And another. No, not spring flowers yet, but rather huge deals. It's GMC's Truck Month at Wolf GMC Buick. Nab 0% financing up to 72 months on our most popular Sierra half-tons, or massive discounts starting at $8,000. Choose your truck from a great selection, like the fabulous all-new Canyon, right up to the trailer-hauling Sierra HD with the industry-leading Duramax diesel. Spring into Wolf GMC Buick today and snag your truck, and see the savings at wolfgmcbuick.com.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
Blue Jays fans, are you ready? Spring training is here. And every Sunday at 11 a.m., Sports 1440 carries Blue Jays baseball. Put yourself in Florida, in the heat, in the stands, having a cold one, listening to Sports 1440.
The Alzheimer's Face-Off presented by Christensen Communities Limited hits the ice April 25th to 27th. This Edmonton-based tournament pairs hockey fans with some of their favorites from the NHL Alumni Association for a fun-filled weekend featuring a champions luncheon and tournament. Teams are already fundraising in the community, enabling the Alzheimer's Society of Alberta and Northwest Territories to continue providing help for today through free education programs and support services, and hope for tomorrow through research. For more information or to learn how you can get involved, visit alzheimersfaceoff.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. Participate in McDonald's in Canada.
Oil Kings Hockey takes the ice at Rogers Place for the final regular season game this Sunday.
It's the Team Awards game. See who scores the hardware pregame for Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, MVP, and more.
With all the family fun Sunday face painting, bouncy castles, and Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less.
Plus a postgame team autograph session.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Red Deer Rebels. Team Awards game, 4 p.m. Sunday.
The final home game this season at Rogers Place before playoff action kicks off, starting at $20 a seat. Save on day of game pricing now at oilkings.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday continues on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you. Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor15. You'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. As we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. Of course, they are one of the most diversified electrical contractors in the province, in 4 divisions and projects and TAG and, of course, solar. If you're looking for solar on your home or your commercial building, they can help you out and help you save a lot of money. Go to actionelectrical.net. As we welcome in former NHL general manager, scout, Stanley Cup winner, now ace analyst and scout with TSN, Craig Button joins us. And Craig, every week, man, it changes. Just when we thought teams were out, all of a sudden they're back in. The Canadians are in a playoff spot. The Islanders got a huge win. They're in. The St. Louis Blues are officially in a playoff spot today after beating Vancouver in overtime. It is wild and wacky wildcard races. Well, probably the best races with the most teams we've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, there's no question. And you look at the West, 4 teams fighting for one spot. In the East, it's 5 teams fighting for one spot. And I've learned a lesson here. These teams have all reached this point in the season by being inconsistent, by showing signs that they are a playoff team, by showing signs they aren't a playoff team. So with lots of games left to play, there's no reason to rule anybody out. There just isn't. I mean, a couple weeks ago, Columbus and Detroit were on a heater, and Montreal was out of it. The Islanders were out of it. Now, Columbus and Detroit have fallen off a little bit, and Montreal's taken off, and the Islanders are taking off. Same thing in the West. And I think that it sets up for a fantastic finish to the regular season. And I'm not ruling anybody out. I'm not picking who might be out or who might be out. You got games, you got time to put points up. So let's watch and let's enjoy it, because I think now, Jason, I'm going to say it's a fool's game to try to say who will be in or who will be out.
Yeah, I like St. Louis, doesn't guarantee it, but man, they have the best schedule. They mean the hottest team. They're rolling. They got some confidence. So I do like the Blues. I like their schedule, but I can't rule out Vancouver, and the Calgary Flames just keep finding ways to win. So you're right. It's too bad those teams aren't playing each other more often. To be honest, that would actually be great.
Well, let me give you an example, and it goes back to the schedule. In the 23 season, the Chicago Blackhawks were god-awful. They came into Calgary and beat the Flames in Calgary.
Yeah.
It ostensibly ended the Flames thing. They went into Pittsburgh and ended the Pittsburgh Penguins playoff hopes that year too. So everybody looks at strength of schedule and everything, and fair enough. I agree with it. I'm just telling you what happened in 23. A terrible team knocked out 2 teams, not 1. And they went to their home ice and beat them.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you can't take a team for granted at any point in the season for sure. So that's what makes it good. And that's why I think it'll be a great race down the stretch here over the next 4 weeks leading right into the playoffs. Now the Edmonton Oilers got some bad news, but maybe in a way good news in the sense that it's not going to be long term, but no Draisaitl, no McDavid tomorrow, likely for the next 3 games. Those 2 are out. And, short term, Craig, sometimes injuries to key guys short term can maybe be a positive for your team because other guys get to step up. Other guys get a lot more minutes and maybe can gain some confidence. And, I look at a guy like Adam Henrique and Jeff Skinner specifically are probably 2 guys I see that are going to see their minutes increase the most in Edmonton.
No question. And I think Thursday night's game versus the Jets was a good example of that. I mean, McDavid goes out, doesn't, whatever time left in the second period, doesn't return from the third. I mean, the Jets were carrying a lot of play. And then, you kind of look at each other and go, okay, it's up to us. And I thought the Oilers really pushed in the third period. They ended up tying the game before losing in overtime. But you're exactly right. There's opportunity here for players to take on more responsibility, different responsibility, more ice time, and show their value to the team. It also gives Chris Knobloch and the coaching staff, oh, geez, okay, that guy can handle that. Okay, we can put that player in that spot. And I think that the third period against Winnipeg was a really good example of that. They're going to have to – you don't have the benefit on the power play. Obviously, the game got to overtime. I mean, you know that Scott Arniel's going – good. We don't have to deal with 29 and 97 because it's almost automatic that those guys are going to get the best chances and help you win the game. So and the good news is according to Chris Knobloch, it's not long-term. And so now the players get ready and they get a little bit of a rest here. And I know that Connor coming back from the Four Nations, a little bit of a downtime. Then he found his game. Leon, I think, who's been doing the heavy lifting for the Oilers all season long, it'll benefit them.
Yeah, like they get a little rest. Especially if it's not too severe, that could be a benefit for sure. They do get bad news that Trent Frederick, who they're hoping originally when they acquired him would be playing in March. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case now. They're saying 2 weeks. The Oilers have 4 more games this month. So now it's going to be April for Frederick. How many, if he only got in 5 games, is that enough, Craig? 7 or 8? Can you really tell? Does it matter, or as long as he's ready for the playoffs? Because he does bring an element the team needs.
And he also understands what the playoffs are about. You're not talking about a young player that has to figure it out. I mean, he's been there. He's played in hard games. He's played in the playoffs. And I think the key with Trent is, to your point, what he brings helps the team. Is going to help the Oilers. And number 2 is, I think that just the fact to make sure that he's ready to go, make sure that he's healthy and he's not at risk of aggravating that injury, that he comes back, you'll be fine. And I don't care if he starts game 1 of the playoffs. I'm not worried about Trent Frederick. Trent Frederick knows what his game is, and a healthy Trent Frederick's going to bring that game.
Craig Button from TSN joins us. Craig, you look at a team like the Minnesota Wild, and you know what? They're still hovering around. They're 4 points behind Colorado. They got a game in hand. They've won 2 in a row. They're without Kaprizov. They're without Eriksson Ek. Brodin might get back in the lineup. When Minnesota's healthy, and which sounds like they could be for the playoffs, how much of a thorn do you think they could be to Dallas or Colorado or whoever wins the Pacific if they end up being in that second wild card spot?
Well, I don't think they're going to end up in that spot. I think they're going to be the first wild card.
Yeah. But
don't rule them out to maybe be third place. I mean, when you look at it, and they're close there, like you said, with a game in hand, how about this little scenario? And we've talked about it, first place in the Central. Winnipeg looks like they got that sewn up. And then we're talking about Colorado, Dallas. Well, all of a sudden now Minnesota's on Colorado's heels. And now you're looking at the Pacific and you're going, well, look at how important it is to finish in first place. Imagine finishing in first place and you get Colorado. Oh, isn't that nice? It's kind of like when Dallas got Vegas last year. Vegas was a wild card. And I know Dallas went to the conference final, but there's chunks taken out of you, like when you're playing good teams like that. So I think we're set up for a great competitive race here. And the Minnesota Wild, much like how you just described Edmonton, they found other things about their team. They found out that other players can do some things. Kaprizov's a superstar. Eriksson Ek is such an excellent two-way center. Then you got Brodin, who's excellent on the blue line. And now you find other guys that can do it. And now if those guys come back and can play, you understand that just makes them that much better. And I think that it applies to Minnesota like it applies to the Oilers. William Karlsson comes back. Shea Theodore's coming back in Vegas. I mean, these are all things that are going to make good teams even that much better and that much harder once the playoffs come around.
Yeah. You look at the Oilers, and up until the injury here to Draisaitl and McDavid, the Oilers game was, and even last night they played pretty well in that third period against Winnipeg without both of them. That they've limited their goals against. Their team play has improved a lot. They started to get some scoring. Jeff Skinner, Victor Arvidsson, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I still look at the Oilers, and I think they beat an up and down team. They had a stretch of 30 games where they're the best team in the league. Now they acquire Wallman. They've also had stretches where they're the worst team in the league, funny enough, for 15 games. But I look at Edmonton, Craig, and I still, in the Western Conference, like when the playoffs begin, I put Edmonton right near the top when they're healthy with McDavid and Draisaitl, and you throw in Frederick. And then if Evander Kane, I don't even care if he's on my fourth line, he just brings something to me that I don't see how I can see Edmonton as a major underdog against any team. How do you view them?
Yeah, I don't know how you can say major underdog. I don't think they're as good a team as they were last year when they were in the playoffs. I don't think they are. And, you look at other teams and you can look on paper and say that they're better. And certainly, you look and evaluate and say, okay, this area might be a little bit better. There's no perfect teams. I mean, after you get through the top two defensemen in Colorado and with Josh Manson out, they're vulnerable back there. The Dallas Stars are vulnerable on the right side of their defense. Heiskanen's out, might not be back to the second round of the playoffs. The Oilers, I talked about some of their lack of scoring depth, but you have 97, you have 29 who can literally, move boulders and climb skyscrapers. So Stuart Skinner has shown that he can be a really good, reliable goaltender. Ekholm coming back is good. And, the Winnipeg Jets, they're not perfect. So when I look at everything in the mix, I agree with you about Edmonton. Just because I don't think they're as good as they were last year doesn't mean that they're going to go in lacking confidence about their ability to beat anybody or that they should be labeled a major underdog. You might say, hey, listen, the other team might have a slight edge here. The Oilers are always going to have an edge when you talk about the two best players. They're always going to have an edge. Nobody can match up with the Oilers when it comes, maybe Colorado with Makar, not maybe, Makar and McKinney to make an argument. Nobody else can. So, to your point, there's a lot more level playing field, I think, than people realize.
Oh God, yeah. No, it's super close. And injuries, injuries are such a major factor. Like, look at when Florida lost in the Cup final. They were banged up. Like Edmonton, if Evander Kane is playing and he's healthy, does he score a key goal? And maybe Edmonton wins the series. You will never know. But you know what? For a guy who scored 24 goals, is a pretty big impact player. Could have been a difference maker for one game. So yeah, health is always the biggest wild card, and probably at times has to be like maybe. The most frustrating part of being a GM is some years you can do everything right and you just have bad luck and you get some key guys hurt and then you lose.
1998, I was in Dallas. We won the President's Trophy. First game of the playoffs, Joe Nieuwendyk blew out his knee. Yeah. We were able to go to the conference final before losing in 6 games to the Detroit Red Wings. You get to a point where other teams are just too good. They got a little more depth. They're just a little bit that much better than you. And so, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Dallas Stars would have won with Nieuwendyk. I mean, you'd proven that you were a good team, a President's Trophy winning team, but there's other good teams out there. But you lose Joe Nieuwendyk, and now it becomes so much harder. And injuries are a big part of it. Like, there's no question that injuries play a part in terms of playoff success and your ability to move forward. And if you go back and look, Jason, and I know you do, you go back and look at teams that have been able to, usually they don't have injuries. Even the Boston Bruins, when they had that record-setting year 2 years ago, they limped into the playoffs hurt. And even though they got up 3-1 in that series, once Florida started to grind them, they wore them right out.
Yeah, no, it's very true. Craig, I want to get your thoughts. There was some rumblings about the Western Hockey League having expansion. I think those have been put squashed rather quickly. I don't think it would be smart, to be honest. I'm not sure the league right now at 22 teams is deep enough to have more. Like, you could do it, but I don't think it would be good for it by any stretch of the imagination. What do you make of the teams heading in now and kind of this draft class? I haven't talked to you about the draft class in a while, but has anybody in the last 6 weeks or 2 months made a big improvement in your eyes, in your rankings?
Yeah, and I think improved. So isn't Penticton coming into the Western Hockey League next year?
I was heard that there was talk about it, but I was told that that's not official. There'd be nothing signed. No.
Oh, okay, good, okay. I mean, sometimes commentary gets so I just wanted to clarify that. Jason, you just nailed it. Who's progressing? You're watching the players over a period of time. Who's progressing? 2 players that I think have really progressed and continue to show that they're real good prospects is Cole Resney with the Victoria Royals and Jake O'Brien with the Brantford Bulldogs. And I think that there's not a lot of flash and dash to their game. They're both really smart hockey players that know how to play in all the situations in the game. And you watch them and you just have to appreciate how good they are. You just have to appreciate how good they are. And I think that those are 2 players that certainly come to mind. I think Radim Mrka, who came over from Czechia, playing with Seattle, is another player, big 6'5", right shot defenseman that has a lot of elements, still very raw physically. There's work there, but a good player. those would be the three players that I would say at this point in time have really shown that like they're worthy of being considered higher in the draft. And I think they will be.
Craig, as always, my man, great stuff. Have yourself a wonderful weekend, and we will chat with you next Friday.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. You have a great weekend also.
Craig Button from TSN. We'll return. We got 5 questions and more. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
This is a slam dunk. Dive into Edmonton's vibrant basketball scene with exclusive interviews and expert analysis. I'm Paul Sir, and I host The Basketball Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440.
They are nice, tasting just so right. You can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order Oodle Noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle Noodle.
Riverside Marine and Motorsports are back for the 2025 Edmonton Boat and Sportsman Show, March 21st and 23rd. Discover new 2025 models and exclusive offers like Yamaha finance rates and big rebates. Riverside Marine and Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
Wrecks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Positive Friday. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Wanye Gretz will also along for the ride. If you missed it, and I'm sure you haven't, but Connor McDavid, Laurianne Draisaitl will not be playing tomorrow night. They are out for, sounds like a week, which is probably at least 3 games. Tomorrow. Wednesday against Dallas, and then Thursday, the Oilers are in Seattle. So look for Derek Ryan to draw back into. Obviously, he's not going to take McDavid's spot in the lineup, but he will on the roster, and I would see him being the 4th line center. I'm curious. Henrique playing with Hyman and Skinner. Could see Nugent Hopkins, Arvidsson, and Podkolzin. So then you have Ryan, Kapanen, Brown, Perry, Janmark, Jones as your bottom six and whatever formation they come up with. But I don't see any reason why you're not going to play Henrique with Hyman. That's who he played with in the third period. I would expect that to continue. And for long stretches of his career, Adam Henrique was a top six center iceman for the majority of his career. So for a few games, he'll probably want to turn back the clock and see if he can do it. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. And you're waking up tired, maybe more tired than when you went to bed? Well, stop in The Brick's mattress store, talk to their experts, and they will find the mattress that allows you to sleep better so you feel better. At The Brick Mattress.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1. We now know Leon and Connor are going to miss some time. Say it's 3 or 4 games. What do you think the team's winning percentage will look like without their 2 stars?
Well, if it's 3 games, I'm going to say they go 1-1-1.
I hope it's only 3 games. I would think that the team's going to rally and play at least 500 hockey.
All right. Question number 2. Without those players mentioned, what would your top 6 look like as they host the Kraken tomorrow?
Well, after you broke it down so expertly, Gregor, I copied your homework for the Skinner, Henrique, and Hyman line. For the second line, Arvidsson, Nuge, Podzilla?
Yes. Yeah, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be that. I guess there's a chance Corey Perry could play in it, but I think now, do they want to put Perry with Henrique and Hyman? Like, I don't know. I don't think so. So I think I would. Jeff Skinner played 17 minutes, played the most of any game all season. He'll be in your top 6. Arvidsson has scored lately, Podkolzin, Nugent Hopkins. So yeah, I think the top 6 is that. Some guys could move in or out depending on, situations. It's not like the top 6 is locked in cement every game anyway, even when Draisaitl and McDavid are in, but that's the 6 I would start with.
Question number 3. With March Madness in full swing, if you are a 5-star recruit, everybody wants your services. What school would you attend to play college basketball?
Oh, man. Where would I want to play? That's a really good question. There's a few that, I'm not playing at Duke. I don't know why, but I've never liked Duke. I don't want to play at Duke. Well, Gonzaga would probably be near the top, right? Cheered for the Zags for years. So they would be one. Yeah, I'll go with Gonzaga. The other one is just because of Michael Jordan. North Carolina would be intriguing.
Well, I'd go to USC so I can follow in the footsteps of the great Bronny James. Legend.
Be a cool campus to live on. Question number 4. Let's say you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is in the facility. What are you doing to make sure you get this deal done? And are you getting this deal done? Or would you go elsewhere at the quarterback position?
Where else is there to go? Yeah, it's like Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback on the field, was actually pretty good. Now, he's not as mobile as he used to be. He's actually deceptively mobile for a majority of his career, but he's still a pretty good pocket passer. So if you got a decent offensive line, he can do well for you. Now, Tomlin's a guy maybe who can rein him in because Aaron Rodgers has been probably more of a distraction than he has been a positive impact on your team lately. But yeah, I'm the Steelers. I guess it all depends on, what am I paying the guy? I know this. I think I saw a stat that the Steelers' offensive salary cap was 30th in the NFL right now. So obviously they're probably looking to spend some money, but where else is he going to go, Cons? Is he going to go to the Giants? Honestly, I don't what are his options? The
that
Steelers,
might be it.
Yeah, but look at the Giants. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, you can go to the Giants. You're going to get murdered and they're going to be terrible. Or you go to the Steelers and at least you have a chance to be competitive. To me, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Isn't he looking for a 3-year deal, Connor?
I hadn't seen that.
I thought he wanted a Sam Darnold contract.
That's a little long.
That's what I read. That's cheeky.
Yeah, I can't see him getting a. Yeah, now you know what? Who knows? You can sign a 3-year deal, but it's only guaranteed one.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So we'll see. But yeah, that would be anything longer. I'd be surprised in a year. So.
Final question for you guys, a little Friday hypothetical. If you had to live in an apartment from a movie or TV show, whose are you choosing?
Oh man, that's a good question. Well, Rachel and Monica's was good because it had the glass window and it had the patio, right? So you could get outside. Jerry's was kind of terrible, right? You're over the busy street. I don't think I want to live there. I'm trying to think of other apartments that, a lot of the Sheldons. No, I'm not living there. Ted and How I Met Your Mother. He had some outside view, but not a lot. Like, to me, if I'm living in an apartment, because true story, I've never actually lived in an apartment. I've only lived in a house, or I had a townhouse, but I've never actually lived in an apartment. So I would find it. I don't know, man. I'd kind of find it claustrophobic. It'd be hard for me. So I would need the big patio. So I guess I have to go with Rachel and Monica strictly because of the setup. I liked how it had the 2 bedrooms at the end, right? Big open area, the kitchen, but I really like the outdoor patio.
Wasn't there another room down the hall? There was a little washroom, and then there was another hidden
Well, there was the
room?
washroom, but then there was no, Monica just like stored stuff. It was like a storage space there, right?
I feel like their condo, or their apartment rather, in New York was like completely unattainable. There's way too much space. People who lived in New York would watch Friends and get mad about it. I feel like Seinfeld's apartment was actually pretty.
Yeah, probably more accurate. Yeah, that's fair.
You know where I'd stay, Connor?
No.
At Wayne Manor, but before the fire. In Batman.
In Batman?
Of course. It's not really.
Well, that's not really an apartment.
It's like a
It's like a
lodging.
mansion.
It's like a lodging.
Hey, look at me, guys. I'm going to live in a mansion.
Yeah.
Like, what? Don't get out of here.
Like a lodging in a movie.
Give me Richie Rich's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Like, hey, guys, I want to live at Yellowstone. Like, let's just go anywhere. I want the big, massive, mansion out there with, no fence and unlimited yard.
I want to live in that oil rig Lashif lives in Bond.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The question was apartments.
I would honestly, do you remember Frasier?
Yeah.
He had a really nice apartment.
His actually, that's
in Seattle.
Yep.
He had that talk show host, Wanye Gretz.
Oh, yeah. I just remember his dad's terrible chair.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I remember, because it reminded me of my dad had a red rocking chair. Like, that was his chair, man. Like, he sat in that thing all the time. Loved it. So, because he had an open balcony too, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So, yeah, his was pretty big. So anytime I think of Fraser, I always think of Niles Crane and the episode when he saw his own blood and he just kept passing out. God, he was so funny in that scene. Like, just really good, like, physical actor in that scene. Right. Like, and it reminds me of Struds, because Struds can't handle blood.
It was weird how they rebooted Frasier, but without Niles, because it wasn't the same.
I never watched the reboot.
Such a big part of the show. I watch a couple just to see what was going on. You
Yeah.
need Niles.
What about the New Girl loft? You ever seen New Girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spacious.
Yeah, it's very spacious. Yeah. A loft. I could see it. I actually almost bought a place once at the Pearl that had like a big open loft. It was as close as I ever came to living in like in a building that wasn't a house. So hindsight, I was very happy I didn't do it.
Living in an apartment's cool.
I
Especially if you have a
can't
view.
say it. Like, now it would be cool. You have to have good neighbors, don't you, in an apartment dwelling? Like, is that anybody out there who lives in one? Is that like a key to having good neighbors in your apartment dwelling? I would think so. Just because you're probably at some point you're hearing them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Sometimes there's probably things you don't want to hear.
How are the neighbors at the townhouse?
Oh, I never had any issues. Because there's only people above me, and there was a when I lived in my townhouse, there was a family that had 2 young kids, and so yeah, they were no problem. There was never any late raucous nights, I can tell you that. There might have been a few early mornings, but never any late raucous nights.
Just the guy down below.
Yeah. No, you know what? See, that's why I moved up, because when I lived off of White Ave, we had many years where my house, I hosted the parties, and we had lots of people there, and it was great because we had a house, and usually I had 2 roommates in our house, a lot of in our buddy group. So, a lot of the after White Ave was at our house for many years. But eventually I was like, okay, I'm into my 30s now. I'm not hosting anymore. I just needed to get off of White Ave, and that's when I moved. And I think after that, in my place, I don't think I ever had more than 3 people at one time, and never past 11 p.m. ever did I ever have. Like, I never hosted another party ever again. I've had house parties now in my new house, but when you had that many for that long, finally I retired. I tapped out.
Didn't you have to break into the townhouse once?
Yeah, well, that was pretty easy though. Just because my window didn't have a lock on it, so it just I slid through it, just a window. Yeah, no, because I was a little too inebriated. I thought that I'd lost my keys, so then I went around to my window, and then in the morning I woke up, and in my inside coat pocket, which I had a zipper on, the keys were in there. So
Classic Gregor story.
That was a classic one. Yeah, that was the story of the Minerva Foundation. Anybody who'd ever been to the Minerva Foundation knows me like that. You can go there with the greatest intentions, and it never works out. You end up just being sideways. And yeah, I got pretty sideways that night. It was anybody who's ever had I think I told that story on air actually. That was I had a huge business meeting at noon the next day. And so I went and picked up my vehicle at Cook County because that's where they're hosting it. And then I went downtown to my meeting. And before I went in, I'm like, I'm not feeling great here. And so whenever I don't feel like it, for me, I was like, I gotta get it out. So yeah, right on 109th Street, just off of Jasper Ave, just finger down the throat. Right? There we go. Close the deal though. So
it's your flu game, Jordan.
Like if I look at, moments of your life where you're like, God, but I don't know if I kind of ducked down in the front of my vehicle. So I don't know if anybody saw, but it's one that you're kind of like, probably could have made a better decision at that point in my life.
As long as you close.
So, but again, like I always say, 9s and 10s, 3s and 4s, that would probably classify as a 3, right? Like kind of embarrassing to yourself. Didn't really hurt anyone. Rats and the birds got fed. So it's kind of a win. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. Truck month is on now. GMC. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on a 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Pro Graphite. See more details at gmccanada.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are not going to play tomorrow when the Oilers take on the Seattle Kraken. They're expected to be out for up to a week for the Oilers. Oilers playing the Kraken 8 o'clock down at Rogers Place. We got pregame coverage for you. Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson getting going at 7 o'clock tonight on the ice. Penguins host the Jackets in the lone game on the NHL level. In the association of the Magic Wizards, Heat host the Rockets. Pelicans take on the Timberwolves. Hornets and OKC. Spurs host the Sixers. Mavs battle the Pistons. Cavaliers in the desert to take on the Suns. Celtics in Salt Lake City. Blazers host the Nuggets, and the Grizz taking on the Clippers. March Madness rolling on today, just one game on, and it's early. Number 1 Florida leading Norfolk State 13-2. Later, you got Troy, Kentucky, Marquette, New Mexico, Akron battles Arizona, UConn up against Oklahoma, Illinois taking on Xavier, Bryant, Michigan State, and Oregon takes on Liberty. Teams advancing today: Duke, St. Mary's, Ole Miss, Alabama, Iowa State, Colorado State, Baylor, and Maryland. The Edmonton Oil Kings are on the road tonight, taking on Lethbridge. That gets going at 7 o'clock. They'll wrap up their season at home when they take on the Hitmen, Buck-Carbonell at 4 o'clock. In the BCHL, you've got Spruce Grove hosting Vernon at Grand Pier Arena at 7. Also at 7, Crusaders and Brooks taking on the Bandits. And in the AJ, playoffs kicking off tonight. Fort Mac and Whitecourt, Grand Prairie hosting Lloyd. Kodiaks in Calgary. Canmore hits the Drum Heller, taking on the Dragons. All those ones starting at 7 o'clock. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell, host of The Lowdown with Lowetide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
People are always curious about what GS Construction does. They know it's something to do with construction because it's in our name. But our work at GS Construction isn't just about the projects we do. It's about people. This season, you'll see GS Construction improving underground infrastructure in the places we call home. So we're looking for crew members to work with motivated and friendly team members. Sound like you? If you want to join a team that cares about the community, your community, visit gsconstruction.ca and apply today.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertip. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
Oodle Noodle origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Newdell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Noodle. You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is On the Rocks. Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Explore beyond the boundaries of capability and value during Truck Month at GMC. Right now, get 0% financing for up to 72 months on the 2025 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab Pro Graphite. With a TurboMax engine delivering 310 horsepower. GMC Pro safety features, including automatic emergency braking, plus a max towing of up to 9,500 pounds. You'll be ready for anything this truck month. Ask your GMC dealer for details.
From coast to coast, Napa Auto Parts is here to keep your car running longer and stronger, Canada. Did you know that Napa Auto Parts has close to 600 stores throughout Canada and over 90 years of history? Napa offers a wide range of quality replacement auto parts, accessories, supplies, tools, equipment, and proudly keeps Canadians moving day in, day out. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store today or visit online at napacanada.com. That's Napa know-how.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.507. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and Instagram. Thanks as always for listening and watching. And many of you were correct. We did forget Jack. We should have said Jack Tripper's apartment. Many people loved it, right? Two babe roommates, Mr. Furley running around, or Mr. and Mrs. Roper. God, that show was funny in its time. Oh, hilarious. I'm not sure, like today, people be like, oh my goodness, what they talked about, right? But and then there's Larry. Oh, he was a classic. Just kind of the scuzzbag. So yeah, Jack Tripper, good apartment. Really good apartment. Also, Big D said, hey guys, as answer to your question about who will fill in, the question should be who will be Pat Hughes. Remember when he scored 5 goals when Gretzky, Curry, and Messier weren't playing? That's a very true story. That happened. I think it was 1984. Right, the only guys to have 5 goals in a game for the Oilers: Curry, Gretzky, Pat Hughes. So, hey, and now, little different time. The Oilers won that game 10-5, but Pat Hughes had 5 goals in a game. Basically, he's looking at Glenn Sather. Just give me a chance, coach. Just give me a chance. I don't need this 99 and 11, 17. Get rid of these guys. Pat Hughes to the rescue for one night. So, in case you're wondering, the Oilers' all-time record in games where Draisaitl and McDavid don't play, they're 1-1. So, we said earlier, hey, you get B500, 1-1-1, that wouldn't be shocked. Now, they play Seattle twice. That's what I've said. It's like they're kind of lucky. It's not like they're playing Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas. That would be pretty difficult. They're playing Seattle, Then they got 2 days off. Then they play Dallas, and then they play Seattle. Second half of back-to-back. So they play Saturday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So we'll see. You got to be able to beat Seattle at least one of those games. Like, I'm sorry, Seattle's lineup is not that deep. Let's get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists. And, man, they do a ton in the community. Huge shout-out to Taran and everyone at GS, as they're a huge sponsor this year for the Gregor Foundation, and we very much appreciate that for GS Construction. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Talk about that big game.
We should, man. That was a hell of a game. 5 goals. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't care. Like, the best part was that he did score 5 goals, and it wasn't like anyone said, yeah, but anybody can score 5 goals playing with Gretzky. Oh, yeah, he didn't play. Well, you can play with Messi. Yeah, he didn't play. No, he didn't play. All right, 5 goals. That's pretty good.
I just remember I was at that game because I was with my dad, and we were in the red seats, which are lower bowl in the corner, really good seats. So I remember getting there early and watching warm up and stuff, and then they used to announce the scratches on the speaker, right? Yeah. Mark Lewis, likely. And he said, not in the lineup tonight, Wayne Gretzky. And my dad and me looked at each other like, well, what the hell? We came to this game to see Gretzky, and there's no Gretzky. And we're like, this sucks. You're playing the Flames, right?
Yep.
Yeah. This Pat Hughes goes up and scores 5 goals. It's like, oh, well, maybe Gretzky did play.
Yeah, he was just wearing a different number that night. It was number 16. So
yeah 16.
Oh,
yeah, anyway.
Like, could you imagine though the dressing room after that game? Right, like the guy. Oh, I might have to. That's actually a really good idea. I'd love to track down Pat Hughes for that story, and just any of the guys in the room. Like, are you kidding me? Like, 5 goals for any night's unreal, but 5 goals on a night when you don't have any of the big dogs playing, that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty good. So they'll need a little bit of sport scoring for sure. I mean, so where are we going here? Take me down your center iceman then. Nuge is your first line center, or Henry your second line center? How are we doing this?
Well, I'm guessing I would say who's ever playing with Hyman's your first line. So I'm going to say it's Henrique is your first line center playing with Hyman, and I think Jeff Skinner. And then you're going to have Nugent Hopkins with Arvidsson and Podkolzin, right? They've been aligned for the last few games. I haven't split them up. I don't see any reason why.
Okay, that's fair.
Right? So that's what I would do. Derek Ryan's your fourth line center. He'll play with Jones. And then, you got Brown, you got Perry, you got Kapanen, and you got Janmark. So do they go Kapanen, Brown, Janmark, and you put Perry with Jones and Ryan? Or do you because, Jones has some speed on that line, or do they play Janmark with Kapanen and Brown? I don't know. We'll kind of see what they do. But that's who I think the top and the bottom 6 are going to be.
Might be a good day for Janmark to score a goal, eh? He's not exactly filling the net this season, last I checked.
No. He could. He could definitely use a goal. There's no
chip in.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, and what about in the third period last night? Spec shorthanded. Brown, like, remember last year in the playoffs, Brown to Janmark. I think it was 3, if not 4 times on 2-on-1s. He fed it across. Janmark buried it. I thought for sure. I'm like, oh my God, Brown's going to set up a goal here. They're going to win the game. Come down the ice, but he shot it himself, didn't score. But they had a chance to win that game. They actually played pretty well in the third period without Draisaitl and McDavid.
They did, absolutely. They totally competed. They got down by a goal and pushed right back. I mean, that's, and remember, not only is that pretty much the best team in the league, I guess, tied with Washington, but they are, by some margin in goals against, the best defensive team in the league, the Winnipeg Jets. And Edmonton hung with them just fine without their 2 best guys. And then in the end, without your number 1 goalie even. So, no, it's very impressive. That's a really good point for Edmonton last night, the way that game unfolded, for sure.
Yeah, up until that point, what did you make of the game? Like, it was an odd game where there wasn't a lot of shots, but man, there was a lot of quality chances.
Yeah, lots going on. 2 good teams playing at the top of their game. I thought both teams played really well. There wasn't a lot of mistakes. Pucks moving quick, crisply, back and forth. You're right. Lots of chances, but only 1 chance. Like, you got a chance. I thought the Jets had more odd man rushes. The Oilers leaked little odd man rushes for a while there. But no second chances, which are often the ones that go in. And to be honest, I thought that, the only guy I'm pointing at in that game and thinking he probably didn't love his game would have been Hellebuck. I didn't think he was great on the goals that went in. And I'm saying that, telling you that he's probably is in the conversation for the Hart Trophy this year. That's how good he's been. But I didn't think he was great last night. What do you think?
Well, no, the two Skinner goals. Like I said, if Stuart Skinner allows those goals, some Oilers fans are losing their marbles. So yeah, but I've always said this. Like, I watch a lot of hockey. Goals go in that you think a goalie could save way more than people think. I know it. Hey, Stuart Skinner, and I said it, and then Kevin Woodley, I said, how many goals would I look? I said, I probably thought Skinner, there's 8 goals where, well, no, that was Bouchard on giveaways that led to 8 goals. And you look at Stuart Skinner, did he have maybe a few more than you would like? Sure. I think that's fair. At a stretch where there's a save here or there, but it got to a point where every goal that he allowed, people were freaking out at. It's like, oh my God, he should save that one. And I'm like, I think people would be surprised around the league more often how a goal goes in that you, quote, think the goalie should save, right? Like this, the second Skinner goal, I don't even know if it's like, he didn't get much on it, but it's coming in, it's timing's all off because it's like it's a sundial as it's going through, and it just, Hyman was right there, and it happened to squeak through, and those goals will happen every now and then. But, Hellebuck, when they needed him, he made 2 pretty big odd man rush saves in the third period.
He did, and he stopped Hyman in the overtime with his mask. Listen, I think people get emotionally invested, right? They love their Oilers, and when the puck goes in, they get all mad and their blood pressure gets going. And frankly, when they're watching, if they're watching, the Leafs play Buffalo on an off night when the Oilers are not playing, and frankly, most of those people probably aren't. But if they are, they're not dissecting every goal against because they don't care that much. It's only Toronto and Buffalo, man, or Montreal and Philly. And, so it's 9/10 of that. Skinner is, I know there's people out there listening saying they don't like his numbers and his expected goals above average and all that. To me, 80% of that whole Skinner's awful stuff is just emotional trash, frankly.
You look at the Oilers now, Spec, and like today, Knobloch said it's a week, but we've heard, hey, Frederick is going to be back in March, and now that's not going to happen. And earlier in the season, a guy was supposed to be out a week, ended up being out a month. Like, how much angst should Oilers Nation have about McDavid and Draisaitl?
Well, I wish I could answer that. I mean, I don't. You're right. Because they've always, they frankly just never tell us the truth. And there are some injuries where you don't know the truth, right? There are some injuries where you're surprised at how long it takes, or you thought it was one thing and maybe it's worse. I get that. That's going to happen. But on a consistent basis, NHL teams, not just this NHL team, are so vague and unrevealing with injuries that now we've all learned that just because they say it's a week, it could be 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know what it's going to be. Like, I make a point of trying to deal in facts, and I have no way to know I don't even know what a McDavid's injury is, man. Do you? Does anybody? They haven't told us what the injury. How are we supposed to tell you how long he's going to be out? I don't. I'm trying to decide if it was a wrist or if it's some kind of groin abdominal thing.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. I saw him come out in the next shift. And you kind of saw him stumble coming out of the zone. I think it's more of like a soft tissue injury.
Me too. Not a wrist thing. Some guys are telling me it's a wrist. I thought the same thing. And I saw him stand there after the game. He didn't have anything on his wrist, and he didn't.
Nothing on his shoulder. Yeah.
So so now we're talking about some kind of soft tissue thing. I don't. Listen, a week could be awesome. 2 weeks is probably more realistic, and let's hope it's not a month.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that wouldn't be ideal for Edmonton for sure, because then, you know what? Now, like, I look at these next 3 games, Spec, and to me, I believe injuries to your star players short term can actually have some benefit because other guys will get more ice time and get a little confidence. Yep. I think that can happen. Yep. When it becomes long term, then it's a problem.
That's always the way. You can, it's a little bit akin to the new coach bump, right? A team all of a sudden plays great for a few games, but then they turn back into the team they really are. And that's the same with Edmonton. They'll get a few good games here. And frankly, there's a pretty good team beneath McDavid and Draisaitl. That's why they went to the Cup last year, right? They're not a bad team. But you take away your top 2 guys, your power play. I don't expect to see a lot of power play goals in the next 2 weeks. The zone entries are going to be a real challenge here without the 97 cheat code power play entry. And it's true what they say. I know it's a cliche, but guys do have to step up. like Bouchard's shot is going to be more important on that power play because you don't have Draisaitl's shot anymore. So he's going to have to probably, let a few more goals than he normally would. And I mean, Zach Hyman's going to have to go in there hunting rebounds just a little bit harder. And if ever there's a time for Nugent Hopkins to step up and continue what's been a pretty good run, it's now, right? He's got to keep that run going. So, and like we're talking about the Janmarks of the world, those guys could all kick one in. It's going to be imperative that you get a goal from someone you don't expect one from almost every night now if you think you're going to get to 3. So let's see what happens. Let's see how they handle it.
Well, you know what? Adversity is something that faces teams at some point in the season. And, like I said, if it's short term, maybe they get a little bit of rest. That could be a benefit. Unless it's a injury that could be nagging. And I think that's going to be the challenge here, is to ensure that, and there's never a guarantee, but that, this is not something that's going to linger into the playoffs. And that's why I think even if it costs them home ice advantage, I don't see any reason how they're rushing either one of these guys back.
Oh, no, you can't. Like, what's the point? What's the point of going in with dinged up, your 2 best players aren't healthy to start the playoffs, and you think you're going to go 4 rounds? And home ice, I'd way rather be healthy and starting on the road every day than not healthy and starting at home. I mean, I'm a big proponent of, first of all, I think the Oilers' history is they start better on the road in playoff series. And the only time it matters is if you get to game 7. That's when you say, oh, man, I wish we had home ice advantage. The rest of the series doesn't matter. So, yes, what you just said is correct. It is far, far more important to get these 2 guys feeling great when the playoffs start than worrying about if the Kings pass you or something. Who cares? If the Kings pass you, whatever. We'll figure that out later.
If you're the Oil Spec, who do you want to face in the first round?
Ideally probably Minnesota. Wanye, because I just don't think they haven't done enough winning. I know they got guys out. I just feel like, and I know that, the Oilers record recent and over the last few years has been a struggle. I know they won a big one in there this year, but they haven't exactly had fun playing Minnesota the last few years. But I would say to you that LA is going to be a tougher out because they're a little bit better team and they're sick of getting beat. And I would take Minnesota. What about you?
I think you're right. I think LA's got too much history, and every time they lose to the Oil, it becomes a bigger challenge as an organization.
I think there's something there that Edmonton can't match. When you're in a playoff series and the team's down 3-1, and the team that they come out and they play game 5, and the team that's down in the series, like the other team just can't match their desperation. You know what I mean? Because if we lose, my season's over. If you lose, it's 3-2. And I've seen that 100 times in my career, and it's something that the leading team can't match the desperation. And I would say to you that do what you want to do for the Oilers, and I think I'll still pick them to win. But one thing they can't match is LA's sickness of losing to the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, there's guys on that team that have lost 3 years in a row, and they are sick and tired of it. And Edmonton can't match that. They don't have that same quality. They don't have that same emotion.
Yeah, well, that's fair, but they do have the emotion of losing the Stanley Cup last year. That's I think is a pretty big motivator as well.
Yes,
so
that is true.
It'll be interesting to see how they do tomorrow. Something tells me the Oilers are. I think there's a lot of veteran players that are going to be proud to say, you know what, let's just show the league that we're not just a 2-man team, and it's a great opportunity to do it.
Yeah, it is, and we've all been in that room, Jay, and talked to those depth guys on those nights when Draisaitl and McDavid get paired together early, and they all the rest of the team sits around, and we've heard guys say, man, oh man, like we never get give us a chance to win a game once in a while. Well, guess what, boys? That chance shows up tomorrow night, and I'm with you, Jay. I think there's a bunch of guys ready to put their money where the mouth is.
Awesome, Spec. We'll see you at the rink. Have a good one.
All right.
That's the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. And you know what? Like I've said, we'll run down Seattle's lineup for you in a sec here, but Seattle's a game tomorrow night, even without McDavid and Draisaitl. I see no reason to think, the Oilers can't compete. Not at all. Seattle isn't gifted with loads of talent. Their leading scorer has 48 points. Okay? So they've had all year long, all in the number 1 power play, and their leader has 48 points. Did they have any winger who's as good as Zach Hyman? I don't think so. Is Chandler Stevenson clearly that much better than Nugent Hopkins? I don't think so. So I don't see them having, a way more abundance of talent. Look at their back end. Bouchard, Ekholm, Wallman, Nurse, Kulak. Those 5. Look at the top 5 in Seattle. You have Montour, you have Dunn, you have Riker, Alexiak, Larson. Obviously, Larson's higher up. Which 5 would you take? Most people would take Edmonton's. So I don't see why Edmonton should go in and be like a real noticeable underdog. They're going to have to play very well. But I think they're capable. Like, they kind of get lucky here in the 2 of their next 3 games are against Seattle. Not a dominant team by any stretch of the imagination. We'll take a quick break. Return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
This is going to make you hungry. Booster Juice just dropped new guacamole and black bean grilled fresh options.
What the guac?
Yeah, a guacamole black bean wrap, guacamole chicken panini, and an egg and chipotle black bean wrap.
What a trio! Holy guacamole!
Bye-bye, boring as bread sandwiches.
Guac, yeah! New flavors, new cravings.
Avocado up to wraps and paninis from Booster Juice. Canadian-born, blending since 1999. Download the Booster Rewards app and order one today.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Do it, do it, do it. Your vehicle is a big investment. Protect it at Hughes Car Wash. We use only clean, fresh water and the highest quality car wash soap. Hughes Car Wash, the car wash pros.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, and Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
Farm, ranch, acreage, or lake lot. They're here to help at Bashaw Concrete Products. Family owned and operated for 60 years. They continue to provide the best products and service, period. Call now for your free quote on the highest quality ready mix and gravel, a new septic tank, or an outhouse pad and tank, plus precast cattle water pads, garage sumps, and more. Call 780-372-3854 for prompt delivery. Bashaw Concrete Products, 780-372-3854. BashawConcrete.com.
At Cross Mitsubishi, you can rest easy. You're getting a great deal this month. So hurry in now. Lease the 2025 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross for as low as $27,548. That's $6,000 off. Finance for 36 months with 0% available. You'll also enjoy an available $1,000 trade rebate, plus an available $1,000 loyalty rebate. Don't forget a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. See Cross Mitsubishi in store for details. 9605 34th Ave and at crossmitsubishi.ca.
Spring cleanup is a breeze with the Lawnmower Hospital and BCS Market Garden Equipment. Winter left a mess, and the Lawnmower Hospital brings you solutions. From BCS tillers and rotary plows to power harrows and two-wheel garden tractors that go places a traditional tractor wouldn't dare. You'll find everything BCS at the Lawnmower Hospital, including attachments, accessories, hitches, wheels, and tires, plus more. See lawnmowerhospital.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Are you afraid of losing your car or home due to debt? Don't let fear or shame hold you back from seeking help. Bankruptcy is not the only option. A consumer proposal can reduce your monthly payments, lower your overall debt, and allow you to keep your assets. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I'm here to help you tackle your debt. Take the first step towards regaining control of your finances. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally and manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.530. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Oil Kings in action tonight in Lethbridge. Oil Kings, of course, have clinched a playoff spot, and they're either going to finish in the 6th slot or the 7th slot. Currently, they're in 7th. They would need to win both of their games. Brandon has to lose both of theirs to catch them. And so most likely they'll finish 7th. And that means then they'll take on either the Saskatoon Blades or Prince Albert, who are, well, I guess technically Brandon too, but because they're 81, 80, and 79 points, those three, whoever wins that division will get the number 2 seed. And that's who the Oil Kings will face. So some playoff action right around the corner here in Edmonton, which should be fantastic. Love it. All 16 playoff spots have officially been clinched in the WHL. Let's get to the oil report, brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton, as the March showroom event continues on. It's their biggest sale of the year. It's getting nice outside. You want to go test drive some vehicles, you get great savings. You can lease an XC60 XC90 from 1.4 to 1.99%, save up to $5,000 on the XC90, $3,500 on the XC60. So stop in this weekend for a test drive at volvocarsedmonton.com. As Alan Mitchell, host of The Lowdown, noon to 2 here on Sports 1440 every weekday, joins us. LT, do you remember the Pat Hughes game in February of 1984? Without Gretzky, without Curry, without Messier, he dominates and scores 5 goals.
Yeah, I remember the game. I don't remember who it was against, but I remember the game, and I remember Hughes because he was he was one of those say their specials where he'd get a guy and they would come here and they would immediately emerge as more, probably because of Gretzky, obviously, and Messier and Curry, but they end up scoring more or being more of an offensive presence. But on that night, there was nothing else going on, and he was brilliant. He was a very fine player. I think he was drafted as a center, and then he moved for most of his career to a wing, kind of a two-way guy. But he was a good player, not a 5 goals in one game player. But it was a great night for him.
What goes through the mind of a Pat Hughes on a 5-goal night, or a Sam Gagner on an 8-point night? Are you just so out of your body that you don't process it until a few days later? Or are you like, I think I got another one in me?
Well, I think with Gagner, he was probably thinking, I wonder if Wanye went out and bought a Gagner jersey tonight during the game. That's what he may have been thinking. It's funny because I've read a lot about different sports, baseball, football, and hockey as well, where there's, goaltenders feel like they're in a zone and the puck looks like this, they couldn't miss it if they tried. And I guess it's, it's like anything else. There are just moments in life where everything is in sync and your brain is like completely, alive, and you're able to take care of business. And I remember, I was at the, I was putting up pins at the KV Bowl in Maidstone, Saskatchewan, when Daryl Sittler had his 10-point night, and everybody stopped doing what they were doing. Then we just all stood around and looked at this goofy little television watching Daryl Sittler shoot everything from anywhere and have it go in the net. So, I asked Sittler about that many years ago, and he remembered everything about it, and he said he felt like he was in his zone, but he had no idea it was going to happen. The goaltender that night, Dave Reese for the Bruins, never played in the NHL again.
hard to come back from that one. So, I don't know if anybody's going to, well, I'm pretty confident no one's going to get 5 goals. The odds are pretty low, but I think Adam Henrique, LT, here's an opportunity for Henrique. He's going to be the guy. I think, well, Jeff Skinner played a season high 1706 last night. And I think we'll see him on the top line with Hyman and Henrique. And, Henrique and Skinner, the two guys, like we might even see Henrique on the first unit power play. We'll see what they do because now both McDavid and Draisaitl are there. We saw Skinner there last night, so I assume he's going to be one. And maybe it's Arvidsson or maybe it's Henrique. We'll see. But, here's Adam Henrique for a long time was a top 6 forward. So can he wind back the clock for 3 games? I think it's very possible.
Yeah, and these are guys who haven't had an opportunity, but they're high skill. They the teams they played for previously, they were part of that area of the special teams. And I remember at the deadline you were talking about Henrique and the fact that he's got talent. I mean, that's not his role, to put pucks in the net on the power play on this team, but it is now. And I think they can simplify it too. I mean, there's a lot you can do on a power play by just hammering the damn puck at the net and looking for, a juicy rebound. So maybe they'll just simplify the entire process of the power play. I think Nuge obviously is always important on the power play. He'll become more important too, but it's an opportunity, and who the heck knows? Maybe they transfer that, and sometime in the playoff they get another opportunity due to whatever reason to spend time on the power play.
LT, you look at the Oilers, and obviously it's going to be a little bit harder to evaluate them in a sense without McDavid and Draisaitl, but it's an opportunity to say, well, here's some guys who can get going. Skinner scored twice. Arvidsson has 2 goals in his last 3 games. Nugent Hopkins has had consecutive 3-point nights. Like, it sounds strange, but if this happens 3 weeks ago, it's probably much more concerning. At least now you've got some guys who should enter the game tomorrow night, feeling a little bit confident about themselves offensively.
Yeah, and I think I was encouraged by how well they played after McDavid didn't return. They went down by a goal. They got that goal back, and the only play that I recall being just unfortunate was the Perry penalty, and I don't know why they didn't call a dive on the same play. That's an obvious and clear dive.
Fair
God,
point.
I was just, come on. You don't have to be Bill Barber to know that that's a dive. And that call to me was I know you've been talking about the referees lately. Good Lord, man. I know that that was Perry had a stick where it shouldn't be, but it was obviously embellished, and that was an easy call for the referees to make. But during the period of time when McDavid wasn't on the ice, unfortunate overtime goal. But Edmonton had a chance not previous to that. I think it was Hyman. They played them even up, and they played desperate hockey, and they're going to have to play a different style. They are going to have to play desperate hockey. They're not going to be able to make 6 gorgeous passes and pass the puck into the net with those 2 guys out. But it's a chance for them to step up. I mean, Hyman is a leader on this team. And Nuge is obviously that defense. My God, I just love it with the new guy. They got like 5 true great NHL defensemen who can play 20 minutes. It's exciting. So it's an opportunity, and maybe something comes out of this that is very positive. Who knows if they play 2 games and they go 1-1 and they play very well in both of them, it might give confidence to some players who maybe aren't at that level. Maybe Skinner steals a game. There's some opportunity here. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's the idea that McDavid and Draisaitl, whatever their maladies are, man, get rest. Don't worry about a game against Seattle on Saturday night. And I'm sure anybody who's got tickets is rolling their eyes as I say that, but it's true. The playoffs are the important thing. This is an opportunity for some of the players who are maybe more complimentary to step up, and I think they'll play hard. I don't know that they'll win, but I think they'll play really hard.
I suggested to Gregor LT that 40-year-old Corey Perry could shoulder the load and carry the franchise for as long as needed, really, and he wasn't impressed.
Well, but the one thing I'll say is, when you watch a player from afar over even 20 years, it's one thing. But Corey Perry, at his age, I can't tell you how impressed I am with that guy. Now that I'm watching him every game in an Edmonton Oilers uniform, he's gotten into fights. He's manned up when there was nobody else on the ice who was going to take a fight. He did because somebody got hit. He's brilliant in the offensive zone. He's passed for goals, passed the puck for goals with his skate to a player so he could shoot it in the net. I don't know that he can carry the team, but I have to say that I knew he was a great player. I didn't know how smart that guy is. He is flat out a smart hockey player, especially in the offensive zone.
I love the quote from Mac Jones when he dished it off to Perry and he scored. He said in the celebration, Perry looked him in the eye and said, "I'm going to play forever." And that's what a man who's going to play forever sounds like.
Oh, man. I don't know if he'll ever be a coach. I mean, he's made a little money, but I think he would be a very entertaining coach.
Yeah, it's a really good, like, the one guy who I think if he wants to be a coach at some level might be Derek Ryan, but I know him and Corey Perry, like, they love being dads, and, you know, their boys are young right now, and you don't get those years back. Ask any parent out there. I know there's lots of people who have to work out of town for their job and stuff, and that's a real challenge. So if you're in a situation where, you know, you've been away from home all the time, I can understand why lots of players are like, you know what, man, I'm not jumping into coaching right now. Like, I know Struds would offer jobs in the NHL and he turned them down because he wanted to be home and be a dad with his kids. And so, you know, I think that's super important. So, you know, it might be hard for those guys. Some do it because they just want to do it. And there's nothing wrong if they do, but I can see how some of, you know, if your kids are that age where you're like, man, I've been gone enough. I don't want to be gone anymore.
Yeah, it's true. The being present in your children's life, especially when they're, as you say, like the formative years. Like I know you coach your son, and that's a connection that you're making now that will last forever. And those are important things that you don't get those back if you're not present. And that doesn't. I mean, if you're working out of town, that makes it more difficult. But there's always, I was going to say Skype, but I think that's gone now. Whatever it's called, Teams. There are ways around that, but. You know, if you're in a position in your life like Corey Perry or Derek Ryan, where you don't have to work every, you know, Monday through Friday to earn a living to look after your family, then that's a great opportunity. And you know, who knows? I mean, can you imagine if in, you know, 20 years there's a little Perry on the ice doing Corey Perry things? It's not impossible. So.
Well, you look at, you know, there's a generation of lots of kids now whose dads played in the league or dads who played in the minors. And you go, I think this year there was something like 12 or 15 or something like that, right? Like you go like Chikrin and go to Kachucks and you go around the league and stuff. So yeah, there's going to be some probably for sure that, you know, we're hanging around in a dressing room right now that in 10 years or so will be an NHL player themselves. Al, the Oilers, you know, I had a few people wondering about, hey, what did you think of the Oilers' defensive play last night? And I didn't think it was that bad, although, you know, like both teams, not a lot of shots, but man, both teams had some really quality chances again, especially off the rush.
Yeah, I thought it was in a lot of ways, it was a playoff flavor game. The Jets are filthy. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but they are. And the Oilers are, you know, they'll be more physical when Kane gets in there. But the Oilers, they had their moments too. There was a little bit of wobble. There were some errant passes. Wallman early was a little shaky, and there were some moments where you know, defensively you'd like to get, you know, better coverage or better outlets. But that's because the other team's doing good things too. You've got to give them credit. And Winnipeg is like, they're deep. God, you know, like they could win the Stanley Cup, but. On the other side of it, I thought the Oilers made Hellebuyck look a little bit, you know, ordinary at times.
Yeah.
So it was for me, it was just one of those games where, I mean, except for the injuries to McDavid and Skinner, I thought that it was a great game between two Prairie teams. And man, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I did. I thought it was great playoff caliber hockey. And whoever gets the Winnipeg Jets, they're in for a world of hurt because that team. You know, they're tough. Like they're a really tough team, and they're physical, and they have good size. You know, they've got their skill guys too, but they're brutish, and I think that Winnipeg's going to have I don't know if they're going to have a long run because it'll come down to goaltending for them. But if they do, they're going to beat up on some teams in the playoffs.
What did you make of the concussion spotters decision?
I hate it. I just hate it. You know, like. You're 7,000 feet away, and I get it. I understand, but get real. I think you have to have the referee go out and talk to the player. You know, especially in goal. Holy crap, guys! Goal is like a really important position in hockey, and now all of a sudden you're telling the guy he can't stay in the game. And I get it. I understand if it was a clear concussion, if it was a clear issue where the guy just got demolished, and he couldn't, he was just like wobbly, then the coach will take him out, right? But this is a big damn deal. Like if you're in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, and so Clarence up in the stands thinks he sees a concussion, and you lose the game, there's going to be more hell than a little bit.
Yeah, like I watched the replay again, and like there was never a time where Skinner showed any signs of like wobbling when he got up and geez, looked like he lost an edge again. And even like when he went back, there was no whiplash. There was none of that motion. Like he got hit by Velarde and then he went back. Just like some people thought he tried to sell it. I don't believe in that either. Like Velarde hit him pretty good, but where he hit him wasn't like there was no chin contact or anything. So I kind of thought it was an odd timing one. And, you see Skinner skating off the ice. He clearly had all his marbles at that point, right? So your suggestion isn't bad to, not that the referee's a concussion expert. And I'm sure the ref's like, I don't want to put that onus on me, right? And then what do? You talk to the concussion spotter. Do you have another microphone connection? I don't know how you do it, but it's just, to me, you got to be a little bit more concrete in that one, because like Stuart Skinner doesn't have a history of concussions. So that's the other factor.
It's like he didn't sell it because he didn't have time to sell it. It just was a bang bang play. It's hockey, and the goaltending position is so important. Like it is just damn vital. And so some guy who is entrusted by the league to make that call. I don't know how you'd have any legit proof unless the guy staggered. And then if he's staggering, the damn coach is going to take him out.
Yeah, that's true. Al, have yourself a great weekend. We will chat about the Oilers McDavid list, Dry list on Monday. Have a good one.
Beautiful. You guys too.
There you go. That's Al Mitchell, a.k.a. Lowetide. Quick break. We'll come back. We got 2-minute warning and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertip. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins, multiply your prizes up to 6 times, and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash, trigger the jackpot, launch the free spins bonus, and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on PlayAlberta.ca. Claim your offer today.
There's an old saying that goes, many hands make light work. We believe that at GS Construction. So what does it mean? It means a task is easier to complete when many people work together. It also means that GS Construction is preparing for the start of the 2025 season and is hiring. Currently, we're on the lookout for top men and pipe layers. So if you're one of those skilled pros who know how to do your job safely and efficiently, we're interested. Come join a team that's as solid as the infrastructure we build and maintain. Visit tsconstruction.ca today.
Hey, okay. Hi there, this is Riverside Motorsports, Yamaha, Suzuki, KTM, Polaris, Gas, Husqvarna, Tibbersled, Stasic, Talaria, Climb, Thor, Alpine Stars, 509, Troy Lee Designs, and more. Sales, how can I help you?
Located on St. Albert Trail, rideriverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
Metal Supermarkets is locally owned, locally operated. They love this city and serving its people. We're talking metal cut to your exact specifications, fast. In fact, at Metal Supermarkets, they're as Edmontonian as checking your basement sump pump in the spring. And, oh no, not good. But on the bright side, I do need to work on my backstroke. And don't even get me started on my butterfly. Count on the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
At Cross Mitsubishi, you can rest easy. You're getting a great deal this month. So hurry in now. Lease the 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage for as low as $15,848. That's $5,000 off. Finance for 36 months with 0% available. You'll also enjoy an available $500 trade rebate, plus an available $500 loyalty rebate. Don't forget a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. See Cross Mitsubishi in store for details. 9605 34th Ave and at crossmitsubishi.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by the Edmonton Oilers. Secure your spot inside Rogers Place this year for the Stanley Cup playoffs by becoming an Oilers full or half season seat holder for the 2025-26 season. Visit edmontanoilers.com/season seats to join the pre-sale list today.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
550. Welcome back. Gregor, Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you. Let's get to the 2-minute warning brought to you by EUL, your partner in power since 1975. For all your electrical gear, go to ewel.ca. And Cam Tate, of course, every Monday and Friday joins us. Here's Tater.
It was 5-1. A few weeks ago, trade deadline day, I was sitting with my mobile command center. You might call it a laptop in the media dining room in Rogers Place. A few of us media folks were anxiously refreshing our browsers, looking for not only a trade, but a big trade involving the Edmonton Oilers. Somewhat disappointed, I threw out my surprise the Oilers didn't make a move. An old friend and a great broadcaster, who, by the way, has the same first name as I do, made a most profound comment. Now, he said, we will find out what kind of team they will become. Let me repeat that. Now, we will find out what kind of team they will become. I will give you a few seconds to let you MOKE on that. And perhaps it's something we all know deep inside, but we never talk about it much. Or that's my take. The point, my most learned friend, is this: hockey teams, and for that matter, all sports teams, are always changing. Evolution, baby, there you go. 8 days a week. Teams are not the same from one game to the next. The really good teams, championship teams, find ways to find that secret sauce to play at a high level. And here are the 4 keywords: on a consistent basis. I mean, listen, without Connor McDavid and Laurianne Draisaitl, the Oilers are a different team than they were not even 24 hours ago. And when 97 and 29 come back, they will be a different team. We might not fully recognize it, but seeing teams change throughout the season is part of the sports entertainment world. And for hockey fans from March till June, doesn't get much better. 2-minute warning with Tater. Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440.
Well, there you go. It is an exciting time for sure. Also, Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers might see more, because guess who's going to the Giants, Connor Halley? Jameis Winston going to the Giants. So, Wanye, what's your expectations for the Oilers without Draisaitl and McDavid?
Well, like you said, I mean, if you're playing Seattle 2 of the next 3 games, I think you can probably limp along. I'd say they can go 1-1-1.
Oh, yeah. Like if they went 2-1 with the loss being to Dallas, I wouldn't be surprised. Right now, I haven't looked at Dallas's schedule, but the Oilers, you know what? They have Sunday, Monday. They have 3 days off, so they're going to be well rested, right? And that does, in the NHL, if you look at teams on 3 days rest, it helps for sure. Now, there'll be no Dry. Well, we don't know. He said up to a week. Who knows? Maybe by Wednesday, one of them's feeling better, and maybe they play. So we know for sure that both of them are going to be out tomorrow. Said probably a week, so I'm going to guess they're not going to rush them back, but it'll be interesting. Someone could step up. We will see who they do. The Columbus Blue Jackets, the only game in the NHL tonight, and they're in need of a win, but it's not going good early. Connor Halley will update you on that momentarily. On behalf of Wany Gretz, Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Thanks as always for listening. Please be smart all weekend. Don't drink and drive. Don't be inebriated. Don't weed. Don't whatever. Just get home safe. Take an Uber. Take a cab. Get a DDD. Whatever you do, be safe. Let's get to the Command Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges, furnace repair, and maintenance. Do it now at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, Laurianne Muenzer and Connor McDavid are expected to be out up to a week for the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, that means they will not play tomorrow when the Oil host the Kraken down at Rogers Place. That'll get going at 8 o'clock. Pre-game coverage with Walker and Paulson gets going at 7 right here on Sports 1440. One game on the ice tonight. As Gregor alluded to, the Penguins lead the Jackets 3-1 after 20 minutes in the association so far. You've got the Magic on top of the Wizards, 56-49. Later tonight, Heat host the Rockets Pelicans in Minnesota. Spurs take on the Sixers, Celtics and Jazz, Suns, Cavs. Got the Nuggets in Portland and the Clippers up against the Grizzlies. Day 2 of March Madness in full swing. Halftime, Florida leads Norfolk State 53-32. Kentucky up on Troy 25-23. Number 10, Mexico leading number 7, Marquette 21-18. And just getting going, got Arizona leading Akron 9-2. Later tonight, UConn up against Oklahoma. Xavier battles Illinois. Michigan State taking on Bryant. Liberty battles Oregon. And earlier today, teams advancing: Duke, St. Mary's, Ole Miss, Alabama, Iowa State. A little bit of an upset. Number 12, Colorado State over Memphis, 78-70. Baylor gets past Mississippi, and Maryland over Grand Canyon. In the WHL, the Oil Kings play their final regular season road game in Lethbridge, taking on the Hurricanes. That gets going at 7. We'll wrap up their home schedule Sunday, taking on the Hitmen. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, we've got Fox Sports Radio. Live local coverage resumes tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. with the Saturday Sports Setup, followed by the Basketball Show and Paul Sir. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.